guys. Let's see. I don't. See if I- Guys. Hey, I'm good. Still feeling a little bit under the weather. Yes, yeah, I'm no coffee positive. Yeah, did you get my email? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Dude, the Peloton. I thought it was just trolls. That's on me. I honestly, I considered it, but then I was like, nah, that's crazy. Why would he ever buy a Peloton off me? Sorry about that. Yeah, that was just jokes. That's on me. My disappointment is immeasurable. I apologize. Guys, I actually want a Peloton. Hey guys, I'm Batman-ish. Well, to meet you, Batman. Still sound a bit sick. I'm sick. Done with the CDs? Yeah. The CDs I just did signatures on. And I think for the posters I might do like signature and just like a short message. Oh, I wish I was feeling a little bit better. But I will try to do what I can. Them MFs are expensive. Yes. The CDs did not get little messages. The CDs just got straight. Wait. Oh, get out in poster. I love the pink mouse. Thank you. How'd you guys like the show? Really, really happy. Really happy it went well. Does it ever get lonely? Up where it's holy, with your head in the clouds. My gravity's pulling you all the way down. Does it ever? Is it Y-O-U-R-E? No, that's U-R. What am I saying? The exposure is a bit much. Let me see if I can fix the camera setting. Maybe I could. Oh, if you could tell. Live in a castle in the sky. Does my package ever make it hard to fly? So high up that I'm feeling out of touch. Promise me I'm not too much for you. How do I? Alright, I don't really. Sorry, I never could change, but you still insist. Am I to blame? There it goes. Maybe that's a little better. Good. That way. Show you guys that I'm signing. Yeah, if this whole music thing doesn't work out, you can be a hand model. Haven't.
Still wait till sunsets, eat home alone.
Just trying to go back to work.
Rise asking on and on.
It's been a while for everybody. I haven't really been active. Other than
How you've been doing?
following.
You sleeping alright? I worried it's to wake you up at night. You know why, but you don't know why. At the same time,
I have lost all motivation. Right places from. Cannot tell you.
been worried all night, wondering all night.
Nice try though.
Who loves you now?
Can't see stuff but pop walking. Someone said the exposure is too high.
Wipes the problems, the leaves turn to autumn, when they won't stop falling from
Is that better?
your eyes, from your sides.
That's better.
Who loves you?
Doesn't go. 28 a.m. 28. Move the poster closer to just move the camera closer. Closer.
I'm stuck in this room.
You go.
It's beautiful. So do they streetlights. So do you. Wish we could stay.
Cool.
Found someone just looking. Keep you in my
Cooking your day. Smack. I haven't talked for a while. I went to concert from Hey. Hey. Guys, talk to me about the concert.
I could be a drawing.
The markers are.
Could you be my Lennon? Just imagine.
Remember when we're trying to figure out what.
Melodies
Right, yeah.
loud and active, passion and passion.
That was such a long time ago.
Would you mama love?
You should be able to hear me now. I just moved the mic closer to my mouth. It was a little farther away. The X lyrics. What a wild time. It should be better now, I think. Ah, there it goes. I wasn't at the concert, I'm in Europe. Oh my. Let me see. Jello. I have like the craziest brain fog. How are you, friend? Dancing with the lights all off. Fully recovered J ASAP. Thank you. Appreciate it. Trying to grow just a little bit, man. Favorite concert by far, and I've been to a lot. Oh, really? Dude. That's so good to hear. What about the concerts you guys like? Is my question. Hello. How are you on this fine day? This is me and my boyfriend go-to song. Well, Rhea. Nice. Oh yeah, are you still sick? I am a little sick. But it's actually a lot better than it was. I was dying. Miami never gets concerts to Miami. Dude, I wish. Narration and the flow were so good. Dude, that's really, really good to hear. I was scared that the narration might be a little bit corny. I was a little afraid. Hoping to see you very soon, friend. The amount of emotion you put into singing your songs. Stop, your outfit for the concert ate up. Thank you. I actually got styled by a really dope stylist friend of mine named Tanner Blake Johnson, and yeah, it was really cool. And then he put together some American, like some sick ass costumes. Hello. I like hoping. Hoping this day. Filled with smiles. So she was just so speechless. She doesn't understand why she doesn't hear you on the radio and more people don't. I think you're very talented. Well, Rose, tell your mom I said thank you. Very nice. Direct that reaction. No, lords. Ireland, dude. Ireland would be so cool. Jumping with you during car crash was a core memory. Dude, car crash is so good for jumping. You know, so if you stop the timing of car crash, I'm sure some of you guys already know this. I've said this. The tempo, it's perfect for jumping. I literally before I made the song, I sat down, I started jumping. Or like I stood up, I started jumping, and I was like, and I counted it. I counted the BPM, and I said, all right, that's the BPM. It was a car crash. Oh, I'm crying watching the TikToks. I should get on these though. So, what we having for dinner today? Car crash lover? Not necessarily my favorite song that I've written, but I feel like it's a goodie. Hello. Please. Smile and spread the light. I personally prefer Wallflower. Dude, that song is so good. I think that song is so good. I'm sad it doesn't get the recognition I think it deserves. I'll be a wallflower till you water me. Traveler is my song for real. Put me on stage. Wait, really? How many of you would just be down to like sing a song if I brought you on stage? Wanna come sing in my Civic? I love Wildflower. Flower. Castle in the Sky. Interesting. What if like I brought you guys up on like a easy song, like 50 proof, and then I made you stay on stage until in my Civic, and I made you sing. Taylor Williams. Oh, is that Ariel? Pac-Man and Lover. Lover. Oh. That's evil? I'd be so mad at you. Dude, but that's like one of those memories. That's like one of those memories that you would remember. I'd eat up. I have concerts every day with your songs in my room. Okay, bet. Well, 3 Liana Cristal, you are coming up on stage whenever I come to a city near you. You. Hello. Hope your day is going excellent. Egg. Excellent. Let me on stage and serenade me with the song. Okay. I saw a clip of Saweetie being sung to. What's that word for being sung to? Being something. By Usher? I didn't listen to it, but I just saw the clip while scrolling through Twitter. It's gonna be one of those moments. 글씨 짱 웃음. 꼬불꼬불. I sing exactly like Daft does, but I would come up the stage. Oh yeah, serenade. There it is. Serenade. You will regret having me on stage because my voice is wonderful. You are awesome. Don't you forget. Bet, bro. In LA. I'm already here. Will not be bullied here too, man. Queenie, no one said anything. Twitch gremlin. Are they just signing posters? Yeah. You are awesome. Yo. You. I was not gonna write you. I was gonna write yo, but I ended up writing you. You are doing just fine. No sweat. Where can you get one? They're all sold out already. Gotta sleep, man. Good night. Good night, man. Sub and Twitch is still going. You should end it. Joey. Thanks for continued support. Appreciate ya. Up to the turkey. Turkey sounds fun. Souls out. Souls out. I'm walking around with my souls out. Around with my souls out. I don't even know what that means. The ukulele live? Oh, I wasn't able to see. Did Fam end up playing the ukulele live for Castle in the Sky? His soul's out. Nah, but honestly, your concert was really fun. It was one of the best times I've had in a while. That's so good to hear. Oh yeah, I got cut short, but I was a little afraid the monologues might be a little corny. Alright, dude. I've never seen you play ukulele live. Ukulele was played live? Yeah. Maybe I'll play the ukulele live someday and sing. Jay, I'm getting confused, so I got an offering for work, but the problem is they can pay me underpaid around 4K. Oh. I mean, that's up to you. Tell a joke next time. Yes. Hoping these vibes reach you. Ooh.
How you've been
like the monologues? It was nice to relive the journey that we had. Yeah. I was just because monologues can be a little corny sometimes, especially like that. But I thought I don't know, I said it, let's do it. Whatever. Live one life. You only live once. Might as well. Okay, that is some weird eyes. People call it corny anyways, it's fine. Yeah. It's nice to see the internet calming down too and people just not being like so mad at me anymore. I mean, I guess it has been 2 years. It's nice. Sending all my good vibes. Your way. I'm still a little bit sick, but I am feeling a lot better. You. Oh, it's okay. This is easy. Orny makes money? You think so? Kronos must die. So we may lie. Now a bed of highs. Forever. Jay, do you like Chase Atlantic? Oh, I haven't heard of them. Maybe I'll check them out. Yeah, when everyone was trying to figure out like the last part of that the song, it was pretty funny. That he just writes corn on a poster? Sure. Corn. Continued. Hey. Thank you. Your support always. Feel bad fast. Got to feel better than you. We might go and break our hearts. But it happens. nice and Jerry. I appreciate that. Thank you. I guess as long as you're like truly genuine about everything, I guess people who want to know will know. How many posters left to be re-signed? A lot. We just started. What was the process behind Lennon? I wrote Lennon with a producer named Tasker, incredibly talented. And that was during the time that I started weaning. So my prerogative was to get in the room and get out as fast as I can because my head was killing me. During that time, I wrote Lennon. I wrote Safe in the Rain. I wrote Elephant White. There's a couple other songs that I'm forgetting. But yeah. Those were just in and outs. Like I just kind of got in, wrote it, and got out as fast as I could. Hope you are having a good one. Can you sell the damaged posters for 1 cent so I can get a little message and feel delusional? What? That's not how that works. Hello, Latvia and all its residents. Thank you. My beacon. My beacon of reason. What happened to the previous posters? Apparently they got damaged in shipping. Yeah. Fake smiles keep the right dials moving. I wish you could come to India. Dude, I wish I could too. Lord. Can't wait to see you. Good vibes only. Hoping good vibes follow. Big one, pass it on, sweat. So I see a lot of people asking about P-Butt. They hit the 3-month mark, and it turns out they're still not old enough. They went to the vet and they're not old enough to be neutered yet. So we're gonna give them a little bit more time, and then we'll check the week after that, and then we'll check the week after that. When they get okayed by a vet to be spayed, that's when I feel comfortable kind of spaying them. And I want them to rest, and then they'll be here. So, yeah. Anybody. And also, dude, I've been wanting a dog so bad. It's so sad, man. I want a dog. Not old enough, sad. Yeah.
stuck in this room, 'cause it shines beautiful. So do they streetlights, so do you. Wish we could stay here. Found someone just blinking. Keep you in my eyes.
Yeah. Mentally, there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and I think I'm okay. I think doing some introspective thinking. I think I'm okay. I'm like trying to figure it out, if that makes sense. So, Castle in the Sky has been doing like 10k streams a day, right? It went up. So, I'm wondering, how long does it have to stay? How many days does this have to stay? 100 days. 100 days, then it'll be a million streams. A full year would be 3 million by that point. You probably have 5, so it'd stream even better. Things to think about. Yo guys, have you guys checked out the Discord channel that we opened? You guys are looking for people to chill with? That may be a good place. Internet island recluse, if you may. Hello. Hope you are feeling great. Whoops. Feeling great. Good. Cause you are great. You deserve more than this. I posted quality Ege memes. I must see. I'm too shy to chat there. Think of it like this. It's a private getaway to an island of people that don't know who you are. And don't take it in a weird way, but take it in this sense that no one knows of all the mistakes that you've made in life, and like people just want to accept you, and it's like a community of people that, never mind, this is sounding really bad, never mind. But yeah, I don't think yeah, I'm just gonna stop. That'll start to sound really weird. On and on. Yeah, that sounds really scary. Yeah, that's probably not the best way to put it. You know what I mean? It's like a internet island vacation getaway where you can be whoever you want to be. You know, I kind of did that too when going from high school to college. I was like super shy in high school and everyone knew me for that, and like how I didn't talk a lot. But college, I just decided to pucker up, tee up that ball and swing it and be confident, and it worked. So maybe this is, if you feel like you want to be more extroverted socially, maybe this is your start. Hello. You know? Met some of my best friends like that. Exactly. Also, it was the most fun one I've ever been to. So glad I got to finally meet you. Yo, B-Hop, it was good to see you, brother. It was good to put a face to the name. Hey. Whoops. I'm also terrible at meeting new people. Yeah. You know what? You guys want to watch a true crime thing while we watch this? Maybe? How do you guys feel about that? Would you guys be down? Let me see. A detective. Ooh.
No, no, no. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside. I'm
Whoa.
begging you, Lee. Just tell us.
I don't know where she is.
This is Lee Rodarte, a
Alright,
man taken into
let me
custody
add
for being
this.
suspected of kidnapping and killing his co-worker, Savannah Gold. With no ideas of where Savannah could be, the cops knew getting this interrogation wrong could mean they might never catch the killer. What's even worse is that Lee had a foolproof story that was going to make sure Savannah was never to be found. Lee, however, is under the impression that he is smarter than the detectives. Little did he know.
Look at this. Side entertainment for my other ADHD fellow compadres.
17, Savannah's family received text messages stating she was running away and quitting her job. The messages were riddled with errors, causing her family to panic and report her as missing immediately. Throughout the investigation, the police were grasping at straws until they were suddenly sent the CCTV footage from the Bonefish Grill where
Let me turn on
Savannah
subtitles.
worked. The video shows her getting into a silver car in the parking lot before it began to shake violently, with the door being thrust open and pulled shut 3 times. The car then drove out of the parking lot and Savannah was never seen again. After a series of interviews, they discovered the car was identical to Lee Rodarte's, a manager at the grill and boyfriend to Savannah for around 2 months. Lee was immediately arrested on suspicion of murder and brought into the interrogation room. However, he was told by police it was for an unimportant traffic warrant. And that's when the following happened.
I'll stay right out here. You can go have
Great
some food real quick.
detective
I'll be right
work.
back, okay? Yes, sir.
Being told the
I
detective
am.
will be right
I
back
am the compadre.
obviously implies to
Yeah.
Lee that he won't have to wait long to be seen. But it
Padre.
would actually be 90 minutes before anyone
Nope.
enters the room again. Only a few days ago, Lee was interviewed about the disappearance of a girl he
Yeah.
kidnapped, and now he's been handcuffed
TV
and
show with the
taken into a
subtitles, I have
police
to, like, watch-
interrogation room.
Like play
Lee will be
games on my
feeling
phone.
incredibly anxious now.
Yeah.
But remember, he's confident that there's no way the cops have enough evidence to take him down. But unfortunately for him, the facade the detectives put up is all about to be ripped away.
Hey, man.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. You remember me from the other day, Detective Reeves? Okay. This is my partner, Detective Staley.
The detective that enters isn't the same one that brought him in. It's the one who interviewed him about Savannah 3 days prior. Any comfort he found in thinking this was all unrelated has now been completely taken away and replaced with pure panic. But Lee's plan remains the same.
You guys
he
can't read
tries
the
to keep himself
subs.
composed as he prepares for the onslaught of questions he's about to be hit with.
Is that better?
Savannah, you said that you knew her and you guys had, you knew her from work. I mean, just kind of fill me in with that. How long have you known her?
Might be
like I
better.
said, I've known her obviously.
How many
since she
monitors do you
worked-
have? I
since
have
she started
2.
working there. I would say probably about 8 months ago, we started hanging out outside of work. And at the time, I had a girlfriend, but I kind of, we kind of connected, me and Savannah.
Savannah.
Hung out a little bit here and there. Got pretty close. We come from, I guess, somewhat similar backgrounds, I guess you should say.
The question Lee was given was, how long have you known Savannah?
Nice.
A question that surely merits a fairly simple answer. When hit with a question like this, people who have nothing to hide keep their responses short, taking the questions at face value. But people who feel pressured will usually extend their answers to questions in an effort to seem as though they know what
Oh,
they're
it's just not
talking
Subwell in
about.
the first place.
Something Lee will fall victim to.
So we kind of connected, hung out for a little while. I'd probably say a period of 2-3 months.
Okay.
And then she started using drugs a lot. I did them with her a couple times, and then she started to get
The settings,
heavy
huh?
into them. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
so I kind of just
I'll just leave it here.
tried to take a step back, and you know.
My brain is too
push things
fried from the
off.
heat.
And then
I feel that
probably
on an
a
internal
month
level,
or
brother.
so ago, I saw Savannah at work, and she looked healthy again. You know, she gained a little bit of weight. We kind of were talking, you know, here and there. We hung out a couple times. She came over to the house, and you know, we just kicked back, drank a couple beers, watched movies, stuff like that.
In total, Lee spoke for over 5 minutes in response to a single simple question, going so far as to detail specific encounters between the pair. Now that the detectives have even more reason to suspect that he may be hiding something, they decide to call him out on something small to gauge his reaction. In the first interview, Lee had told investigators he hadn't seen Savannah in a while, but if the CCTV footage is to be believed, this is a bold-faced lie.
And then as we hung out, you know, after a couple times, she brought drugs over. I told her, I was like, you know, you're doing really good. You can't, you shouldn't be doing it again. I think we moved too fast. Split
Yeah,
mutual
just be
ways.
mutual. Right. Yeah.
And that was the last time that we text.
Okay.
When was that?
Yeah.
When was that?
It was probably 2-3 weeks ago,
Okay.
sometime in July.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you said was that was the last time that you had contact with her.
Yes.
As far as, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I mean, you correct me.
That was
at
the
any
last time that I texted her.
Yeah, text or a phone call or messenger
Yeah.
or anything like that. 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. And then the last time, when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I was a bit. I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple days before that.
Yeah.
So I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish
When was this?
Wednesday afternoon.
Okay. Well, do you know what time or about?
It was about 5:30.
Okay.
Without realizing it, Lee has already provided us with enough evidence to assume he's guilty. We know he knew Savannah. He had the same vehicle seen in the footage, and he was present at the scene of the crime when it happened. Remember, Lee has no idea the cops have footage of the event. If he knew about it, he
sorry
would have
about
tried to
that.
provide an alibi that put him somewhere completely different. Unfortunately,
I wanna
though,
go wash my
this
hand.
isn't quite enough evidence for the cops to get a guaranteed conviction. Instead, they need to push further
Oh, no,
to
guys,
try and
I'm fine.
extract a full confession.
It is all
Something
good.
that will not
Do not
be
worry.
easy at all.
I parked and I said, "Hey, can I
Pooping.
talk to you for a second?" And she said, "Yeah."
Only
what's
the
up?"
best things
And
follow.
I was like, "I heard you've been saying some things about me and you continuing to hang out, and you know that we're boyfriend and girlfriend." And she asked me, she said,
Yeah, I'm
"Can I
freaking
come
lots of
sit in the
foods.
car because
No worries.
I just did some heroin and I'm a little paranoid."
Okay, what is
Never
happening?
Confirmed that Savannah did
I just did heroin and I'm
Never was
paranoid?
seen or
Whoa.
Suspecting she used it. And even if she did, she was headed to a shift at her job as this conversation was taking place. If she was able to do that without getting paranoid, it seems strange she couldn't simply have a chat in the parking lot.
So she came and sat in the car, and I explained to her the situation. I told her that servers at Bonefish were coming to me and telling me that you're telling people when you're out that I'm a boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said, I need you to stop because for one, it's jeopardizing my job. We agreed to, stop talking mutually and just move on. But it was nothing more than that. And she said, I'm going to do what I want. I didn't tell anybody anything. At that point, I got out and I punctured the hole in the tire. And I said, no, stop. And I said, don't do it again, or next time it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be your windows. at that point, she had her phone in her hand. She got out of the car and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
Obviously, this entire explanation was crafted to try and create an alibi as close as possible to what actually happened. But
Hope
the
you
few
are doing
small
well.
inaccuracies are actually glaring windows directly into the truth. We know that Savannah never left the vehicle in the parking lot, and that she drove away with him just minutes after getting in. Lee is unwittingly constructing a mountain of evidence against him in the form of lies.
My immediate
that
reaction
he
to what he said was,
thinks he's getting away with.
Posters look really cool. Yeah, I really like these posters.
And it looked like she was either texting.
I'm really
or
happy with how
calling
they came out.
somebody.
Okay.
Because as she started walking towards there's an entrance to the plaza. She was walking maybe towards this way, and I would say an older model Ford pickup, green.
Okay.
Drove past me
Hey.
and around, and she got in.
Okay.
She
How long
got
do
in.
you think it was between the time that she got
Hope
out
you have a
and
great
started
day.
using her phone till that green truck pulled up?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. So wow. So if she called somebody, they got there in 5 minutes to pick her up.
Well, I mean, like I said, it looked like she was going to call somebody, and that's when the green truck came around, and she got in.
So she gets in the truck. What happened at that point?
Are you going to sign any
they drove
CDs today?
back around,
Oh, the
kinda
CDs
looped
are
around a
all
little bit
signed,
before
but they are
she
just
exited.
signed.
So I guess they exited that way, and at that point,
Oh, guys,
I
one clarification on the hoodies. I am aware that I had said that I was going to change the color to match closer to the color that we wanted. Unfortunately, we've been looking at a bunch of suppliers, and there's two issues to it. For the color to match exactly what the commercial or whatever looked like. One, the material's worse or not as good, and two, there weren't any suppliers that could give them to us. We went and checked a couple times, and I was trying to make sure that you guys did get the right product, but apologies for that. We will be sending out the hoodies as is. If you do have a problem with the color, please let the manufacturer know. And if you do let them know, then they will probably return it, or they can give you credit for a future release or do something else. So yeah. Just know that these hoodies, the quality of the sweater is better though. So that's the one thing. But apologies. I really did try.
left.
Lee doubles down on the lie, again, thinking that this puts him completely in the clear, as he wouldn't have been the last person to see Savannah, but his decisions continue to work against him. Had he decided to stick closer to the truth, he might have been able to argue that he took Savannah somewhere else and then parted ways with her. But without the knowledge of what police have against him, Lee is left simply guessing and forced to make up stories on the fly. This is why it's so important to call a lawyer, innocent or not. In an interrogation, detectives are allowed to both lie and withhold evidence from you, putting you in a very difficult situation where you're at the mercy of their tactics and games. However, the second you bring an attorney into the mix, things get exponentially easier, as police are
Oh,
forced
the
to
green is
record all of
perfect.
the
The
evidence
green
in
looks
possession
great.
so they can put
The green
together
is
a fair
perfect. The
and
only
sound
issue
case
is the
for
blue
you.
one, because not
Calling a lawyer
as close to the
isn't
shade
just
as I
having a
wanted it to be.
wingman at the interrogation room. It's an unlocked door that bypasses almost
I just want you to
all
know that in the
police
future that
tricks.
won't be
It
happening.
goes from them interrogating you to a legal battle.
Yeah.
But needless to say,
I'm gonna make
Lee
sure.
hasn't pulled the lawyer and has been left at a disadvantage from the beginning. If Lee was as smart as he thinks he is, he wouldn't have waived this right, and likely would be in a much better position.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
Why?
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
To your neck?
I couldn't. Yeah, I did. And
What did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some.
Yo, I got the green one. Yeah.
July.
You did that in July and it's still
Yeah.
bloody?
Yo, about the serenade we talked about earlier.
Kind of
I don't know what you're
peels
talking
here and
about.
there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working. And it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this and this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse.
Yeah.
Than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't take a genius to realize how brazen of a lie this is. Aside from his incredibly unconvincing delivery of his excuses, Lee has no history with self-harm and was reported to have been in good spirits in the weeks leading up to this event. Furthermore, Lee becomes visibly anxious here. Most people have a tell that shows when they're lying or feeling uncomfortable. For many, this is crossing their arms or slouching in their chair, but Lee keeps his posture and position fairly consistent throughout the interview. Instead, Lee is prone to subconscious jittery movements in his limbs. Earlier in the interview, while being caught in his first lie, he bounced his leg repeatedly the entire time. While here, he moves his hand and fingers unnaturally every time he tells a lie. In fact, it's almost comical how perfectly it lines up with the false statements.
I met her in the parking lot at Bonefish.
When was this?
Wednesday afternoon.
What happened to your neck?
That was self-inflicted, actually.
What did you use?
Only good
A
things
knife.
follow.
It's also interesting to note that the detectives almost certainly noticed these marks just seconds into the interview. The decision to mention it now was a conscious one, done to try and build pressure. Lee would likely have anxiety regarding his last big lie about Savannah exiting his vehicle. Catching him so suddenly in a second lie right after will likely amplify these feelings and cause him to feel even more paranoia as the detectives continue. This is also likely why they immediately flip back to talking about the truck right after.
Could you see who the person in the truck was?
The truck had fairly tinted windows. I saw a baseball cap.
Yeah.
You adopted a stray
Girl,
cat.
like-
I couldn't
Dude.
really tell if it was a guy or a girl.
Okay.
I just remember seeing the truck drive and
I
her.
really want a
Yeah.
dog.
And obviously I'm sitting in front and truck.
But I wanna,
drives
like,
past me.
Yeah.
Thing about
And
dogs
I saw a baseball cap.
is they're just too
through the
wild for
passenger
me.
window.
Okay.
I think maybe if I had a
So it
pet
seemed
and
like
I
she
was
knew the
like,
person?
I mean, she got right in.
Lee, why didn't you?
when I was
message
like a
this
teenager,
girl?
maybe a dog would have been great.
Don't you think that information?
I mean, it
would
definitely.
work?
Now I
it
feel
definitely
like a
does.
cat- A
And I
cat
regret
kind of fits my
obviously not saying
temperament, if
anything
that makes sense.
Before,
So when I come up and talk to you yesterday, I'm not threatening. I'm talking to everybody up there. What? Why?
well, I just, I freaked out, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think I am. I'm on Tarkov right now. That
But
game
you know
is.
she's been missing. I mean, you
I
had
just,
Taking over my life
obviously,
again.
I was the last one to see her, so
Yeah.
I was a little bit scared at that.
How do you
And-
know you just said you weren't the last one to see her. You just said somebody in a truck.
Well, I mean, the last one to see her at Bonefish.
Okay.
That the last one she's heard from. or
Right.
had contact with that anybody knows of.
Sure.
The detective knows he's starting to catch Lee on the back foot, so decides to keep the pressure up.
So where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
That's my prime objective is to find her.
Definitely.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And I really do. I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think they need some closure. So where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
I don't know.
I need to know where Savannah is so I,
I
can
don't
let
know
her family
where
know.
she is.
You don't know because
Favorite color?
you
I don't
had
think I
something
have one right
with
now.
her and you weren't involved in that part. I don't know. Tell me something. What can I work with?
I told you the last time I saw her.
But that's not true because we have proof. We have.
I'm sorry, Rena. I already signed all the CDs and packed them.
We need this
Apologies.
for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age.
칼코 요즘에 엄청 많이 하고 있어요.
That was my little girl. I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you or whatever, but my little girl is that age.
Maybe
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do
Okay,
anything, but she was
okay.
in your car. She never got out of your car. She
She
never
got-
got out of your car. Lee?
This is where the true genius of these detectives start to shine. The initially quiet female detective suddenly starts to speak up. The male detective had a very deadpan, professional demeanor throughout the interrogation, So having that suddenly contrasted by a vulnerable, emotional-looking person being thrust in front of him will likely come as even more of a shock to him, especially as she starts to become more emotive
smart.
and even starts to beg.
Block Tarkov, y'all. Not worth the attention. Honestly, so true.
She never gets out of that car. There is no
Tarkov will
proof.
eat you alive.
That's not right to her. We're fact finders, Lee. I don't have anything personal against you.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
We're
over.
just fact finders.
Tell us
We're
what
just
happened.
doing
Where
our
is she?
job. No. Where did you go with her? Where did you go with her, Lee? Be human. You're a human. You're a man. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that
Damn, dude, she is cooking.
cool inside.
Maybe you
Please.
maybe you don't know where she is now. Where did you go with her?
Please. I'm begging you, Lee. I know you're not an evil person. I don't see that in you. I don't see that in your history. I don't hear those things about you at work. Is she still at your house?
No.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay. Well, then where is she? What was going on in the back seat? For the doors to be kicked open. She kicked open that door 3 times, Lee. She kicked it. We saw it. And you know I'm not making it up because I wouldn't know this if I wasn't there unless we had video of it, correct? Yes, correct. I'm not trying to trick you.
Yeah,
I'm just a fact
unfortunately
checker.
for you,
I mean, she was
I have been playing the TFT set.
tried to sack
Being
me,
sick at home
sacked her,
has allowed me to become a completely degenerate gamer, and it is
grabbed her around her waist.
nice.
She said, "Where are you going? Why are you hitting me?" She calmed down, and we left.
Why would she leave with you after that? Why would
I
she?
mean, we've gotten arguments plenty of times where she says she doesn't care what happens or anything like that.
All right. Sometimes people do wrong things, right? Some people make mistakes. It's what you do afterwards. I got a family that needs closure. They are now coming to the reality that she's no longer with us. Do you want people to remember you as a guy who said, okay, look, I'm going to do the right thing? Or do you want your family and everybody else to think that you're some evil, heartless person who won't
Sir, we
help
discussed
her?
using hashtags on the clock app. Why'd you stop?
Just tell us where she is.
Uh,
Danger for her family.
I don't know. I kind of forgot, I guess. We'll go back to hashtags.
She was hitting me. She wouldn't stop, and I squeezed back. I just squeezed her hard.
You squeezed her around her neck or around her neck?
She just wouldn't let go. I didn't let go.
Where
Oh,
is
my
she?
music.
Please tell us where she is.
All I want to do is pond on the west side of the Club du Clay
Club du Clay?
Yeah.
Okay.
and Longchamp.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a few days later, a dive team recovered the remains of Savannah Gold, burned and almost unrecognizable. So much so that her cause of death couldn't even be determined. Guilty to the second-degree murder of Savannah, and in March of 2021 was sentenced to 40 years behind bars.
Dude, insane.
Is this Mr. Lloyd, Markeith Lloyd?
Okay. Do you guys want to watch the most shocking interrogation you've ever seen? Sorry. When the suspect tries to seduce the detective? Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good, guys.
Because I don't know what to do. I'm just scared.
This is Amelia Bassoon attempting to seduce the detectives to get away with murder. Amelia
Yo!
was arrested in connection with the murders of Steve and Sean
GG's!
Stack. They think she helped her husband cover up the crime, but she will do everything she can to get away with it,
GG's!
including flirting with the detectives. But while this case started in a playful manner, it quickly evolved into one of the most intense interrogations of all time.
They're dead. They're both dead.
I didn't do anything.
The detective starts by reading Amelia her rights and getting some basic information.
Am I like getting arrested or something for something? Or
We're gonna explain it to you. Yeah, we'll explain it all to you.
just normally when this starts is like someone getting in trouble or arrested or something.
Well, we just, like I said, we want to be able to talk to you.
Already, it's obvious that Amelia is making her voice high-pitched and speaking in a timid tone of
Oh,
voice.
it's a Tumblr
While
name.
this could just
The
be what
real
sounds like
Riz
normal,
God is
other
crazy.
footage of her suggests otherwise.
Seducing to get away with the murder is a power move.
Change of tone could also be a reaction
What?
to being in a stressful and uncomfortable situation. But as the interrogation continues,
Dude,
she
what?
begins to show more and more of these flirtatious signs.
What the what?
Did I hear you?
Yo.
Yeah, so in December we went bowling.
Okay.
The bullet went around the
Dude,
bowling
I got
alley
you guys,
and
yeah.
the artery. Through and through.
Jeez, that's lucky.
Yes, I've been washing my hands.
How long you guys been married?
It'll be a year in September.
Hello.
Here, Amelia gathers her hair and moves it all to the right-hand side, exposing her neck on the left. The neck carries the jugular, an important and vulnerable part of the body that many people will make an effort to protect. However, when someone feels comfortable or safe around someone, they're likely to expose their neck by tilting their head or moving their hair to the side, suggesting attraction or at least the desire to show it.
All right. So, Amelia, I can tell you the reason why we're here today is because of that issue with the bank. Okay. All right. Does that surprise you?
For this type of situation, yeah.
Okay.
Like this intense. I mean, I got in trouble at work, which
Baby girlifying murder is
Let's walk through
crazy.
it, okay?
Yo.
Let's walk through that and see how.
Yo, what?
Find out if this was just a misunderstanding or what. Okay.
The
Narration
story
is
ended with
crazy.
Cindy and Sean dead, but started with an equally disgusting crime. Amelia was an employee at Chase Bank and exploited her position to
You have a
steal
cold?
$50,000
Yeah.
from a dementia-ridden man. She wrote 2 checks from his account, and her husband Josh deposited them in his accounts. When Cindy and Sean started asking questions, Josh purchased a gun and shot the pair in their own apartment. This interrogation is not only to uncover the details behind the theft, but also to determine what part she played in the killings.
So what happened with this write-up? So, I mean, had you been a banker for him for a while? I mean,
yeah. So I've been his banker since I moved here.
so what happened with these checks?
Nothing. Just
No, no, son, we can't.
the
No.
record over global security.
No Teletubbies.
And then they
Only crime documentaries.
pulled like cameras just to make sure like they pulled signature files because I mean it's still federal, it's the bank, so they wanted to make sure that I wasn't like I guess stealing.
When you talked to Gerald, I mean, how did he appear to you? Is he a young guy, old guy?
He's old.
Oh, how did he appear to you when you talked to him?
He's okay.
He was okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any issues when you talked to him about remembering things or anything like that?
Like I know like a little about himself. Like he had brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, he remembers things. I don't think he forgets really. He just other than that, he's
Okay. Yeah, nice guy.
Amelia does her best to seem open and honest here, but as soon as she finishes up talking, she brings her shoulders up, hunches over slightly, and crosses her arms. All movements that are done to protect vital parts of the body and are obvious tells that someone feels uncomfortable. These signs only become more apparent as the interview continues.
What did he have you do? Like, what did he ask for?
nothing. It's just we put 2 checks and $25,000 each, and that was it. The grandson came, picked him up. And
The grandson came and picked him up?
it was either the day before, or the day after. I opened up an account for him.
Oh, so he must have just deposited those checks into the account?
I'm guessing.
I think your best bet right now is to be completely honest with us, okay? So let's go on a little bit more, okay? The truth is going to be the best thing right now, okay? This happened in May?
My write-up for in May.
Is the account still open?
The father?
No?
Amelia's speech has become much shorter and unclear, and she continues to seem more and more uncomfortable when pressured about Gerald's banking records. Of course, the detective has noticed this and is seeing straight through her original.
You like documentaries?
Playful demeanor.
I used to watch a lot of crime documentaries, but then I got bored of them. And it just got like too dark sometimes, you know? Aren't Teletubbies actually like 7 feet tall? Did I make that up? That's scary, no?
But it's not like I don't want to make it.
The Teletubbies are are hobbits, and the baby son is the Eye of Sauron. What the fuck, dude? What?
And Josh. talk to them?
No, he never spoke to them. He doesn't even know who they are.
Okay. What, have you been at their house?
Him?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know where they live. I don't even know where they live.
Well, you have access to his account.
Yeah, but I haven't.
You opened it.
Yeah, but I don't remember his address.
You talked to Cindy?
Mhm.
Possible she gave you their address? Is it going to be in the text messages?
No.
But you don't remember if she gave you the address or not?
She never did. She had no reason to.
It's possible Josh went over there and you didn't know?
I mean, how would he know where they live, though?
That's not the question I was asking. Is it possible that he went over there?
Not that I know. No.
So you can't say for sure he did or didn't?
I'm gonna say no.
How
To
can
my
you
knowledge.
say?
You like horror movies? I watched a horror movie last night, The Black
Amelia
Phone.
now decides to change
It was kind of
strategies.
corny, but
Instead of her
liked
original
how it ended.
flirtatious and playful demeanor, she's switched to an innocent and clueless one.
Yeah.
At points, she even smiles and laughs while being asked serious questions in an attempt to downplay the intensity and pressure. This is a sign that the facade she's put up is starting to break, and the detective takes this as an opportunity to press her even further.
I think you need to start understanding the severity of the situation. Right? Because I don't know if you really do. All right? And I think you need to start understanding that how this interview goes and what decisions you make here are going to affect your life for a long, long, long time. I think you think that you had this all planned out, and I think and again, not saying it in a bad way, but this is what we do. Okay, when we make mistakes, we figure things out and go, okay, all right, there's a lot more going on here, all right? And you know whose name is all over this right now? You and Joshua, okay? You need to start thinking real hard and real fast, okay? Who is involved in this and what happened, okay?
That's all I know.
Okay. Things got out of hand, okay? This got out of hand. I think what happened was Cindy was asking you for this money back and you didn't have it, and there's some issues there, okay? Sometimes, again, when we make a mistake,
Good night. I hope you feel better.
the ball gets rolling.
Have you guys seen The Black Phone?
You know what I'm saying? Okay? Listen, you have your whole life.
She can't just tee her way out of this interrogation. No.
So, whatever happened beyond this, we need to.
Oh, the new
If
Insidious?
you wanna keep
Isn't there a
going
new
what
Insidious?
you're telling us, okay? Then we're gonna have to go on that, all right? And you have to understand.
Yeah. Okay.
So somebody did something. We need to know now.
Talking about her son obviously
What are we almost
strikes a
talking
chord
about?
with Amelia, and as interrogations are all about
Alright,
exploiting
guys, I'm gonna
emotions
focus on the
to extract
posters
the
for a little
truth,
bit.
the detective jumps on this to make her as vulnerable as possible.
Did Josh put you up to this?
No.
Well, this is the stuff we need to know. Listen, if he put you up to it, he put you up to it. That's okay. Again, like Detective Murphy said, I think you're kind of at this crossroads right now, okay? You've got Josh, who you probably love, and he's your husband, okay? But you also have Julian. And you got to picture that little boy. You got to picture not being able to watch him grow up. Think about that for a second. Think about being put somewhere very far away from him, and the only way you're going to have contact with him is through letters. You're going to get pictures in jail, in prison, of your little boy growing up. That's your future.
I don't know the severity of what he did,
What did he do?
but he knows the relationship that I have with Mr. Stack. He knows that. I mean, I would take him food, like,
Listen to me.
so at a point he would get upset with me that, like, I'm too nice, that I can't kind of act with my customers, but he's an old guy. He has no family. Well, I mean, I talked to him because, you know, he's my husband. I talked to him.
Did Josh say that you kind of were owed this money because you were taking care of this guy?
I don't know if he said that, but
Something like that? What did he tell you?
I don't want to get in trouble. I didn't do anything.
Okay. We need to know. Well, then tell us, okay? Tell us. They're both dead.
What?
Yeah, they're dead. So now we really need to talk.
At this point, all of the games that Amelia was playing have gone out the window. Whether she's innocent or not, she's now being accused of aiding a murderer and is faced with losing her job, house, and a 7-year-old son. So, understandably, she's starting to get incredibly scared.
I do not want to go to jail. I don't. Like, if I get fired, okay, let me get fired at work, but I don't want to go to jail. I didn't do anything. I didn't plan anything. I didn't conspire anything. I didn't do anything. I don't want to go to jail.
From here, the detectives try to capitalize on this, using her vulnerable state to try and extract as much information as possible from her. But Amelia asserts that she's only told the truth throughout the entire interrogation. She didn't know Cindy and Sean were dead, and she had nothing to do with their murders. But here is where the interrogation takes a massive turn. These detectives have now been talking to her for over 2 hours, and they've executed this style of interrogation almost perfectly. But for the last few hours, they've just been going around in circles to no avail. So instead, they leave the room to discuss a new approach. And that's when detective number 3 enters with blankets and a kind, apologetic tone.
Hey, you need to talk. You need to get out from underneath this big time. Did they tell you who they work for?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're homicide detectives, so.
I know.
And they want you to be a witness, not a suspect.
That's why I want to talk to them. I just don't want to be involved in any of this. Like,
Okay.
I don't want any part of this. I want to be able to go home.
Okay.
Entering like this after such a stressful experience with the other detectives will set Amelia's mind at ease and subconsciously enforce the idea that he isn't a threat. At the start of the interrogation, Amelia was trying to seduce the detectives in an attempt to get better treatment and hopefully even a lighter sentence. So if the third detective plays into this by treating her kindly and playing her game, maybe he'll have a chance of finding out what really happened.
In these cases, you can't lie.
One sec.
You can't, which means holding something back, telling a partial truth, or just flat out lying. That is accessory. You're protecting someone, and I'm telling you right now, you don't need to do that. If you know what happened, tell him. Did he tell you what he did and told you not to say anything?
No, he just told me if you say anything, then, like if you, because, I mean, I'm not stupid.
Okay, but eventually he told you what happened.
No, he didn't tell me that he killed anybody. Or that he was going.
But you know that he was going over there.
I knew that he was going over there.
What day?
He told me, he's like, don't worry about what I'm doing. I'll take care of it.
Talking about them, though.
I'm guessing so, because that's just what he keeps saying.
Your importance is in details, not in vagueness.
They told me I'm going to jail regardless.
Well, the fraud part may be, but that's nothing. That is nothing compared to these charges for first-degree murder.
If I say all of these things, will I get in trouble?
If you don't say any of these things, you're definitely going to get in trouble.
But this is where I'm scared. If I say these things, like, I didn't do any of this.
Put it this way. If you protect him and you don't tell us everything, then you're part of the crime.
Amelia is now met with a harsh dilemma. She has to either gamble that the detectives never connect her to the crime and face felony charges herself, or fess up and snitch to the police, likely sending her husband to jail for the rest of his life. This is her last chance to make the right decision, or she'll never see her son again.
Can we start over from the beginning then?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I let her know she wanted to know. She went with her dad to the bank and she looked at the transaction history and she wanted to know what the checks were. So I can't tell her much, and then he's over my shoulder listening to my conversations with her. And he's just like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. He just wasn't having it. He didn't want me to talk to her. He didn't want me to.
She's really pulling out all her crime risk. Is crazy, bro. What?
Cindy. She's on the car. Cindy.
And he knew.
Crime risk is wild. That's crazy.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The next day he went and he bought a gun. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday. He called out of work. He said that I'm gonna take care of things. The next day he comes home and he's like banging on the door. This is like
Where the apartment or the house where we were at today.
Yes.
Okay.
Good, Lena.
When he came home, he took the gun apart. He was shaking. He took all his clothes off. He put it in a garbage bag, and then he went by his mom and dad's house.
Okay. When did you become aware that he was involved in the murder?
Well, I didn't know what happened. I just stopped hearing from her. And then when I said something about, can I call her? He told me no. And then he got really mad at me. And he was like, if you say something, I'm going to kill you.
Okay, he's not going to say that unless he told you about the murder. That's the part that's so when did he tell you about the murder? Sweetie, you got to let this go. You can't, anything you hold back is not going to look good. You've got to just tell it. It hurts. It's scary. I understand that. But not talking is worse for you than talking.
It was, he
Did
never...
he describe how, what?
He never physically said, like, what he did or if anything was done.
Did he say he shot him?
Well, I'm guessing...
She ulted too early, dude.
Yes.
Jerry, you're dude, your comments are crazy today. 10 out of 10.
Crime.
She ulted too early. It's crazy.
Nothing to do with the murders, dropped the charges against her. She was, however, still charged with the theft and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Josh, however, was found guilty of the first-degree
Barbie
murders of
movie on
Steve and
Discord
Sharon
after the
Stack,
stream?
and was sentenced to life behind bars.
Whoa.
There are countless cases of evil and criminal teen killers, but what happens when they actually get caught? These are 3 shocking examples of when evil teens realize they are going to jail for life. Starting with 16-year-old Gavin Smith. On the 9th of December 2020, Gavin stole his father's gun before using it to shoot both his parents and his 2 younger brothers, before biking to his girlfriend Rebecca's house to lie low for a few days. When the bodies were discovered, Gavin immediately became the #1 suspect. When Rebecca was questioned, she told police that Gavin had been abused to the point where he was fearful for his life. And in an act of self-defense, Gavin snapped, shooting and killing everyone in his house. Police, however, were suspicious of this story and decided to bring in Gavin himself for interrogation to try and uncover the truth, which would turn out to be one of the most horrifying interrogations in history.
Hey, do you eat already?
Whoa.
You didn't wait on me, did you?
Yeah.
I just got it. Did you get the junior bacon or the crispy chicken?
Junior bacon.
That's what I got.
The detectives realize how high stakes this interrogation is, so choose to start the interrogation out by building rapport with Gavin by bringing him fast food. By creating mutual respect with Gavin, the detectives give themselves a great starting point for the interrogation, and he'll likely give up the initial information much easier.
We want to understand what happened because, Gavin, a lot of times we work a lot of these type cases where you have a toxic home life, you know what that means? Like, it's just,
Do you keep in touch with Byron? I actually don't. I haven't talked to Byron in a really, really long time.
treat the children. There's domestic violence.
Last I heard from him, he said he was going to Japan.
There's all types of different things.
That he was gonna go do language teaching there.
And talking to your
I hope that's going well for him.
detectives, talk to our girlfriend.
Byron was a good dude. He was going through a
She
lot.
told them what's been going on. What's been going on, and obviously you told her what happened up there, right?
After the events of that night, Gavin fled to Rebecca's house where he told her about what happened. He said that because of the abuse, he snapped and blacked out before taking his father's gun and using it to kill all 4 members of his family. The cops phrase this question in a way that gives Gavin justification and makes it seem less confrontational, allowing him to continue opening up to the detectives.
Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah, just start from the beginning.
Well, sometime during April, my stepdad used to abuse me all the time if I didn't do something he wanted or something like that. And I would send my girlfriend
He posted about living in Japan. I had no idea.
bruises and wear marks and all that. And anytime he didn't get his way, he would help me.
You want to teach in Japan?
So with my
Want to teach
mom,
English?
Like, she punched me in the
Dude,
mouth
if that's your dream, you can do that.
Does he mean to your brothers too?
Like,
No, it's only me.
if you speak fluent English and you went to college and you have a college degree, you can pretty much just go and just teach.
Like, he cost me.
Byron, the original editor of my
That's what I got.
my J6
You know, I've been
videos.
taking care of him since day one, since he got out of the hospital. It's just been hard.
Gavin has now doubled down on his claims of abuse. Gavin probably realizes that his story of abuse victim that finally snapped after years of turmoil.
How far are you with the
easier to
posters? A
defend
little less than
what
half.
The cops believe that he's just a 16-year-old psycho that killed his entire family for fun.
Gavin, here's the thing. Like I said, we have investigators up there at your house, okay?
Yes, sir.
And we talked to you up there and said your family, some of your family members are deceased, okay? You know what that means? They're dead, right?
Yeah.
So what we're wanting is to get the truth from you about what happened at your house and how your family ended up dead, okay?
So, me and my mom was cooking when I tried to open up to her, and she just faked it all because I'm currently depressed.
Faked all what?
Saying I fake cut myself, which I haven't cut myself yet for a couple months.
Okay.
And you can't fake cutting yourself. And she started faking all this, and I was just wanting attention. And then, overhauled it, and he helped me with that. And now that night he helped me with that.
How did he hurt you?
He hit me down now.
Down
The detectives have told Gavin that he needs to tell the truth because they have evidence. But notice that they don't tell him exactly what they have. This is an extremely common tactic that forces the suspect to come up with lies based around information they know exists but don't have. Oftentimes, you'll see a suspect try to slow down the series of events and talk about things unrelated to the crime itself, just as Gavin starts to do almost immediately as he scrambles to come up
Jay,
with
do you have
a story.
allergies? I do have a lot of allergies.
Thursday. Thursday. I asked my mom, can I go to Rebecca's, hang out if I have.
I think I'm going back to school to finish my degree.
She says,
Well, see, the great thing about school in 2023 is that degrees just really don't matter.
and I haven't seen him since.
This little crime thing is interesting. Yeah, these crime videos have been taken off since like the COVID era.
Rebecca has told one of our detectives what you told her.
I saw a case about an English tutor getting killed in South Korea, so now I'm afraid to do it.
Okay?
Whoa.
About what you did, what happened to your family. Okay? We kind of see the picture, but we need to understand from your point of view, from your words, from your mindset, what was going on that caused you to do those things. Okay? And you need to tell us what you did. Okay?
Dan has been trying to kill me the past few days.
Okay.
He cut me right there
Okay.
with a knife.
Should we believe Gavin's story, he's been abused so horrifically that he felt his only option was to kill his entire family to save himself. If that was the truth and what you were honestly trying to argue, wouldn't you lead with the facts that your dad had been actively trying to kill you for days on end? Instead, Gavin slowly ramped up the enormity of the crime, choosing to start by saying his dad had been hurting him, with little evidence to support this claim too. Quickly, Gavin is starting to realize that these lies aren't working, so he decides to take his story in a new and even more shocking direction.
Well, you told your girlfriend that you killed your family. Okay?
I don't regret it.
And you regret it?
No.
Well, you need to tell us what you did and why you did it. That's what we want to know, okay?
That morning, Dan, he put his gun to my head.
Okay.
And try to make me do what it's gay. What he's trying to make me do.
Dan did?
Yeah, because Mom wanted to do it, Mom. And he tried to do that, and I lost it.
Well, tell us what happened when you lost it.
I lost it, and I accidentally shot him.
Huh?
I accidentally shot him.
You accidentally shot him?
All of them.
All of them? How'd you accidentally shoot him, buddy?
I didn't realize what I was doing.
What do you mean by that?
Jay, how can I join the server? Which server? The Discord server? It's in my announcements channel.
And I came back and Gage was trying to kill Jay. He put the knife to his James's throat and tried to slit it, and I shot Gage on the head.
Why was he doing that?
Because James wouldn't shut up. He was screaming, crying.
Apparently, the same day that Gavin lashed out against his parents, his younger brother Gage also randomly decided he couldn't stand the noise of Jameson and began stabbing him. And obviously in this situation, Gavin decided his best option was to not only shoot Gage in the head to stop him stabbing Jameson, but to shoot Jameson as well. Every element of Gavin's story has holes in it. He's constantly changing not only the story itself, but also specific elements of it, such as where his parents were when he shot them and what time of day this all occurred at. Of course, the cops pick up on this instantly, so decide to start ramping up the pressure.
Well, Gavin, I think what we're...
Oh, you saw one where a guy killed his parents because he lied about having a job and going to school because he was lazy? Dude, I saw that actually. I saw that one.
I picked up the knife and I put it on the hallway shelf.
And the reason I think that is because I think that that's what you feel the most bad about.
I feel very bad for him and Jameson too.
But I think that that's probably the thing that's got you the most tore up over all this, is that you killed that baby.
I might have messed up though. I'm not thinking straight.
I understand. And I understand you probably feel bad about all this.
Okay,
but we just want to make sure we fill in the whole complete picture. Does that make sense?
So, after I killed Gage, I had a knife in my hands, but I couldn't do it. So I put the knife on the shelf and I shot Jay.
So what were you going to use the knife for?
Yeah, these stories are actually super wild.
I was gonna hurt myself with it after I realized what I did, but probably good.
What is it? I'm sorry.
I said I was gonna use it on myself. I don't realize what I did to everybody.
After being caught out, Gavin is now trying to play the victim. He says that he just got mixed up with the story. The knife wasn't used by Gage to kill Jameson, it was used by him on himself. Gavin is still trying to play the role of a mixed up, abused kid who just couldn't handle his situation. In fact, Gavin would keep up his lies for another hour, only creating new excuses for old stories. Eventually, detectives realized they weren't getting anywhere and stopped the interrogation after nearly 2 hours. However, just days after, police received thousands of messages between Gavin and Rebecca detailing his plans for the murder. It turns out, his parents weren't the biggest fans of Rebecca, and they believed that if they were taken out of the picture, they'd be able to spend more time together. When confronted with this information, Rebecca folded and told police everything, including the fact that Gavin had actually carried out the murders on video call with her. After testifying against him, Rebecca was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while
What the hell?
But while Gavin's accomplice merely encouraged him to carry out the murders, these two boys conspired together, and each had a hand in one of the most brutal teen murders of all time. And they definitely didn't want to be locked up.
I just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a f***ing joke.
These two 16-year-olds are
What
currently
the
suspected of
hell?
stabbing classmate Cassie Stoddard over 30 times in one of the most horrifying
Yo,
murders.
murdering on video call?
Is that in the next couple hours,
My
police
God.
will dismantle every part
Jay, have you read the letters the fans left you? Yeah, I read all of them. I think the day after the show. I was chilling at home. I don't really have much to do, I think. Unless I was doing something that day.
Their actions have
Remember, I chose a free day,
2 p.m.
and I was like making food, and I saw the letters, and I popped them all open.
That night, she invited over 3 people: her boyfriend Matt and his friends Brian and Tori. Halfway into the night, Brian and Tori left, leaving just Matt and Cassie in the house. Soon after, the lights in the house started to turn on and off, with strange, loud noises coming from the basement. An hour later, Matt headed home, leaving Cassie alone and terrified. As soon as Matt had left, the lights turned off again, a door slammed viciously behind her back, and 2 masked figures, dressed in all black, burst into the living room. Before Cassie even knew what was happening, she had been brutally stabbed to death and left on the living room floor. With barely any leads, the police were left wondering who could have committed such a horrifying crime. Eventually, they decided to bring in the 2 boys who visited Cassie on the night of the murder, and 2 of the most disturbing interrogations of all time began.
Hey, Ryan. Hey. Here we talked to your folks, and just kind of told them they're filled in, and they're comfortable with the fact that we'll sit down and kind of, the other night we hashed over some things about, where you were and all the details and stuff. I want to remind you that, of course, you're not under arrest, okay? You're free to leave, and if you don't have to answer any questions that you don't want to, and at any time you can walk out that door and go hook up with your parents, okay? So we're not making you stay here for any reason.
Both boys were questioned a couple days earlier and provided the same alibi. After leaving Cassie's house, they both headed to a nearby movie theater and stayed there for the rest of the night. Though the cops found it curious that neither of the boys were actually able to tell them what the movie was about. But given this is the only reason they have to suspect the boys, they decided to bring them in individually without arresting them, creating a comfortable atmosphere that wouldn't scare them away.
We're going to start I know we talked the other night about...
Jay, did you get our birthday
first
cards?
of all, why we're here. And,
I can't remember.
Homicide. That Cassie Stoddard was murdered. And because of the fact that you were, one of the last 3 people, there, and you had knowledge of her and stuff like that, it's common course that we want to go and interview people and find out what you know.
Regardless of the fact that neither of the boys had been arrested, it's important to remember that, guilty or innocent, the best course of action here is always to call a lawyer. Now that the detectives have confirmed they're there regarding the murder, they have to assume they're suspects, which in turn means all the cops are going to try to do is obtain information and try to extract a confession. A lawyer would be able to help spot traps set by the detectives that will be used against them further in the interrogation. Traps such as the very next question asked.
Let's talk about Friday, and I think the date was the 22nd, and that was the night that you guys went up there to visit. Can you tell me a little bit about maybe at school or something, how you learned or how you come to go up to Cassie's place or out to that place she was house sitting?
She told me on Thursday
Okay.
that
Oh.
she was having
Sorry.
babysitting the house,
Okay.
basically.
Here you go.
House sitting.
Okay, so you guys decide to go, plans are made, it's Friday. What time do you get ready? What time do you end up, how does it work out that you and Brian head out to?
Mom, what
What?
time did I leave from our house
Um,
on Friday?
it was after I got back from taking Jamie to the game.
It was about 6:30 or 7.
Yeah, 6:30ish.
About there.
Okay, between 6:30 and 7.
Yeah.
You left your house.
Yeah, and I went and picked up
About
Brian.
7. Probably, yeah, between 6:30 and 7.
Okay.
The detective is trying to establish a timeline of events here that he will refer back to for the rest of the interrogation. If Tori is guilty, something he says here will be a lie, meaning that if he's pressured for long enough, he's bound to say something that will conflict with his initial statement, giving the detective a way in. But this particular case also carries an interesting dynamic. There are two suspects being interrogated.
지금 다른 스타일로
Given that they're separated, this means that their stories
써보는
have
중.
to be identical, or else the cops will have an instant tell that at
이렇게
least
쓰는 게
one of
낫나?
them is lying.
보통 이렇게
This is a
썼거든?
technique the detectives use multiple times
근데
in this case,
이렇게
and
쓰는
will
게 좀 더
eventually prove
잘
to tear the
보이는데
case wide open.
So you arrive there, what happens when you get
아닌가?
Cassie and Matt gave us
지금 고민 중.
the entire house.
Just back up just a little bit. So you rolled and drive. Did they greet you at the
Yeah,
door? Did you say
Matt was outside on the deck and he waved to us, and then he went inside the house and we just walked up the stairs and walked
Okay.
in.
So you walked up the stairs. You saw a basement door going in, maybe, and a garage door. See, this is the garage door right here.
Yeah.
Was there a door here, a little man door to walk? Did you?
Oh yeah, there was.
Okay, so you went by that door, but you went up.
We
those
went up the stairs
Second
through the
level
front
entrance.
door.
Okay. So they greeted you there. You went inside.
Yes.
And what happened? As soon as you went inside.
We looked around where the entry hall, and then we got the tour of the entire house.
Now,
We
did they take you on that tour?
Yeah, they did. They showed us around.
Cassie was house
interrogation.
at Grant's place on the night of the murder, so there was little chance that any of her friends from school would even know she was there, let alone have the knowledge of the house to be able to gain access and hide for hours undetected. So now that police know that both Tori and Brian were given a full tour of the house, they are instantly more suspicious to them, as they're some of only a select group of people that could possibly have all the information. The detectives then continue on this theme, asking Brian about some seemingly irrelevant points that actually carry some huge weight in this case.
They were eating popsicles. Now were you in the kitchen? What were you using to open them? Were they these ones you have to cut the top open, or do you tear them with your teeth, or how?
You had to cut the top open.
Okay, so how were they opening the popsicles?
I remember there was a knife in the drawer that had like a child hang on it.
Okay.
And Matt was like, oh yeah, I showed him how to open it and stuff, and he opened it for me, and then he did it.
Okay. So did you touch that knife at all?
I think I held it at first, yes.
Okay. Did you see them using the knife?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Why did you handle it?
I was trying to find like a pair of scissors, and I found that, and I'm like,
Okay.
hey, it's not working.
Okay.
So I just touched that.
The curveball question obviously threw Brian off, but it does provide a reason for why his fingerprints were found all over a knife in the kitchen. However, when the detective switches his attention to the electrical panel in the basement, Brian doesn't get off so easily.
So you downstairs, now you got the popsicles out of the freezer downstairs? Is that where you got
Yeah,
it from?
the freezer.
That's where they were? All right. Well, did you see any other room downstairs? Did you go in
I've
the room
never
that was in the
seen-
corner? See that room in the corner?
Yeah.
Tell me about that room.
That room was kind of cool. It had like a couch, it had like a TV, and it had like a fridge, like a microwave, I believe.
Okay. Did you notice anything on the walls? Do you know what
Like painting, whatever.
Well, maybe like that, but you know what an electrical panel is, like the breaker box?
Like the steel thing.
Yeah, it's like a steel panel door, and then it's got breaker
Brian
box, and then it
sus.
turns the power
Oh,
on
did.
and everything. Remember seeing one of those on the wall?
I have it in my house, yeah.
Okay, do you remember seeing one in the wall in that room?
I didn't even think of it. No.
Okay, you didn't think of it or you didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, but you might have, if the door would have been hanging open on it, you probably would have noticed
Well,
that, maybe?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so you didn't like shut the door on it, it was open, so your fingerprints wouldn't be on that panel for any reason. You don't remember like
No.
shutting the door?
I don't think my prints would be on that because I didn't know exactly where it was.
Okay.
So.
I mean, you'd probably remember touching something like that because they're dangerous.
Probably.
The entire house had of course been forensically analyzed, so it's likely that the police had already found Brian and Tori's fingerprints all over the electrical panel. And the detective is right.
The sniffles?
There's
Sorry.
almost no conceivable reason for the boys to have touched it. After all, Brian admitted that the only reason he went down there was to raid the freezer and check out the movies. Of course, we know the boys used the panel to scare Matt and Cassie before carrying out the murder. But for the cops, it just raises more questions, especially when Brian states that he never even saw the panel there in the first place. The cops know something.
Here, I'll just drop the link
seriously
to the
wrong,
Discord here.
so they decide to continue piling on to see if they can find any more holes in their story.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna go get tickets to go to the movie.
And so
You didn't park anywhere though in between, so there'd be no reason for like a
we
neighbor
stopped for like
to
maybe
see your
2
car.
minutes
Where at?
to find a
There you go.
cell phone called Matt.
Okay, so was this in the neighborhood, just not far
Yes.
down?
No, it was like maybe 20 feet away from the house.
Okay.
Then Matt wanted us to come back and get him.
Probably me. I'm not understanding.
Wait, sorry. Where's
so
the?
You leave the house and you're just like you're 20 feet down the road.
Yeah.
And then you called Matt.
There it is.
You hadn't been gone from the house for what, a minute or two, right? I mean.
Well, we didn't call Matt yet.
Okay. So you
We
stopped
drove
there to
to-
find the cell phone.
Yeah.
Brian begins to scramble, desperately looking for the words that would get him out of the hole he's dug. It's worth noting that the detectives haven't even cranked up the pressure yet, and Brian's entire interrogation thus far has been exceedingly casual. At one point, they were even discussing their favorite movies. But this makes Ryan's stuttering all the more telling. He's struggling to attempt to stick to his story whilst only being asked simple questions. So, the detectives take advantage of this and begin to start asking incredibly specific questions.
And we like to see the whole movie. So, and I think the only one playing was was Pulse, and that was at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So we went inside there. I remember calling Matt inside the movie theater.
So that was it still 9:45 or was it a little later when you called Matt so we can match up that phone call?
Maybe 10:26, I think. 10:26, 10:27.
Okay.
Remember, neither of the boys were actually at the movie theater that night. But this phone call did in fact take place. They told Nat they had to stay quiet to not annoy the other patrons. But in reality, they were hiding in the room directly beneath him, whispering to not be discovered before the murder.
So what was the movie about? I mean, you watched most of the movie?
I don't know. Well, there's a girl there.
Okay.
I sat. She was
Thanks,
two seats
Chad.
away from me.
Okay. What side of you was she sitting on?
My right side.
On your right side?
Yes.
Two girls, right?
There's a girl and she had a friend. Yeah.
I mean,
You at least
you
watch
guys-
parts of the movie or something. Any characters you can hook us up with? Describe somebody in the movie. Describe what happened. Anything? What's the whole premise or the plot of the movie? What's it all about?
Okay, it's about a guy, his wife.
I don't want to know what White Noise is about. I
He
want to
dies.
know what this movie's about.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then I remember, you can't really exactly explain the movie because I haven't paid attention to it.
Well, you know what we did yesterday?
What?
We went and watched the movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
what is the movie about?
Jeez. I don't exactly know. I remember being really bored. It was kind of
So you go in a movie, you pay that money to go in a movie, and so
Well,
your story is you didn't really watch the movie.
Well, I was talking to the girls.
You're gonna pick up at least one image off the screen that you saw. Tell us about one person. Describe one person you saw in the movie. What'd they look like?
I'm seeing a man, and he looked at a TV screen. It had white noise on it. Had the shh thing.
And that's all you saw the whole movie. So how long do you think you were inside that movie theater? Total, grand total.
We were there for maybe 2 hours.
2 hours? You were inside that movie theater?
Maybe.
And you don't remember
Not quite 2
one
hours.
detail to help us out. We're trying to help you out.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to tell you.
Now that Brian is being
GG.
pressured by the detectives, his story is starting to fall apart even more. Brian is obviously a massive movie nerd, but when at a theater to enjoy a new movie, he can't even remember a single frame or character from the entire thing. Something isn't adding up. Also, Ryan has a tell. Every time he's been caught in a lie or is forced to go off his prepared story, he stutters heavily. Just as he does here while trying to describe this imaginary man from the movie. See if you can spot any of Brian's lies using this tell as the interrogation continues.
Brian, we got some problems, okay?
Yeah, I understand.
We've talked to a lot of people. We've viewed tape, okay? And I'm here to tell you, you didn't go to the movie.
Okay.
You were not at that movie theater, okay? Now, that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, you're going to have to get by that.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't go to the movie, that's fine. But you're going to have to tell us where you went so that we can put you there. Because I don't want something to cave in on you that's not working for
Right.
you. Okay? We're here to help you, bro.
You know,
I mean, really, we are.
You know what happened.
Said
The
bro?
detectives here are trying to take a softer approach, stating that they are there for Brian to try and help him out of the hole that he knows he's in. This technique is considerably more effective when used on juveniles, but Brian doesn't fall for it. Instead, he spends the next 10 minutes spinning another web of lies, stating that he wasn't at the movie.
Say you don't know?
He wasn't at Cassie's house either. Instead, he was out with Tori going through cars, saying they were stealing valuable items out of unlocked cars.
Think, is there anything that we can go back and make your story fit?
There wasn't anything in the cars. There was a mother that was yelling and at like her kids or something. Then she walked outside and then we kind of scurried off early, you know, because of people there.
In Tori's interrogation, he also
Uh-oh.
used this excuse, but was equally as
Uh-oh.
These cars, so you can't give us like a color of a car.
I got
Like the first one.
white one.
Okay, a white one.
I can't remember what kind it was though.
Because of their terrible delivery of the lies and all of the evidence that had already been found in the house, the detectives essentially dismiss the story and loop straight back to the murder.
There's nobody that's gonna see you guys sneak back into the house.
No.
That didn't happen.
No.
And there's nobody that's gonna see you around the house on Saturday.
No.
We're not gonna find those people.
No. We were at our house at all.
Is there anything to do with the murder? Is there anything to do with the murder, Cassie?
No. No, I did not have anything to do with the murder of Cassie.
Tori.
No.
Do you
How many posts are left?
love Cassie?
Maybe like a third.
Had a crush on her a little bit. Did you
Pretty
have a
far.
crush
We're
on her?
almost done here.
I did. And I was about to ask her out, but then Matt did.
Out of nowhere, Brian gives a motive for the crime. Up until this point, it seems as though Cassie had been selected completely at random. In fact, the pair had recorded a video prior to the murder where they even said they felt sad about what they had to do.
We found our victim and she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices. Our first victim is going to be Cassie's daughter. She's going to be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get?
I'm horny just thinking about it.
Hell yeah.
But while Brian has a motive,
Jesus.
it was still unclear what Tori's motive would have been. That was until he said this.
You know that Matt, her boyfriend, was going to be there too?
Yes.
So, and you also familiar with him?
Yes.
Friends with him?
Sharpie isn't losing ink.
The
Wonder,
suspects
maybe I'll
have a
switch.
reason why each suspect would want to kill Cassie. Brian is jealous of Matt, and Tori simply hates him. Perhaps Matt was the next person on their list. Either way, the detectives have set all their traps and have gathered everything they need to finally start zeroing in to extract a confession.
Somebody has got you mixed into something, regardless of what level you're mixed in, to something that you do not want to be involved in. You don't want to be involved in this. Okay? Cassie is dead. She's not supposed to die, but she does. And you know what? I think you see it. I don't know if you're there. I don't know if you're on top of it. I don't know if you freak out and you do it. I don't know if Tori does it, but you know something? You're there. I can see it. I I know by the evidence that we have that you're there. Okay?
I was there before.
Either it's you or it's Tori.
Well, I don't know who it was, but I did not go back to the house that night, I swear.
One other thing I want to touch upon that night.
Where's
we were
you?
messing around, that's why I asked you earlier. Just take
It actually is a little disturbing, yeah.
because we have some indications that you had some like Halloween type, scary mask or something. You guys playing around with those at any point in time? Or?
We bought one earlier.
Well, I'm talking that night. You guys
That night.
had some Halloween.
It was in my
masks with you?
trunk of my car for a while though.
Was it in the car Friday night?
Yeah, probably was.
Very important thing to us. We gotta solve about Black Rock Canyon too. Okay. We got a car matching your description, going up to Black Rock area.
Yeah, once we got up to Black Rock, we were like, "Oh, this is definitely not."
And that car's stopping. You're not just driving; it's stopping up there. And did you stop for a period of time up in there?
Brian stopped to smoke. I didn't want him smoking in my car.
So did you guys get out? Did you walk? Did you get away from the car? Somebody saw that car unattended?
No, we
did
did
they
not.
report that as an unattended car up there?
No.
Did you guys dig anything up there? I mean, because you're probably gonna have dirt in the back of your car from a shovel from dirt that's gonna forensically match
There
up.
was dirt on the shovel already though.
But I mean, you can match the dirt up. That's the good thing. Is the
How many
dirt gonna
posters you left to sign? Maybe like
Brian took the shovel out, I think.
Did he?
40, 50-ish.
Okay, so is that dirt gonna match
Too
up
many?
to the Black Rock area?
It might not. I'm not sure.
Unfortunately for Tori, the cops already know exactly where the dirt comes from, as Brian had already snapped. Before Tori's interrogation even began, they managed to extract a confession from Brian off camera, who then led them all the way to Black Rock Canyon, where they had buried all the evidence from the case. Now all that was left to do was to get Tori to confess. And what's worse, his parents were in the room with him the whole time, desperately praying he was innocent.
Dude.
I've been doing this for several days.
Dude. Bro, what do you do when you're a parent of that kid? Oh my god.
We've talked to a lot of people. We've seen a lot of things. We've put the pieces of the puzzle together. That's what we do. That's all we've been doing. We haven't been sleeping. Okay? We know how it went down.
I need to find who got the corn poster and personally apologize. It was a dumb idea. I don't think so. I think every poster is kind of unique, and no matter what message you get, no one else will have it in the world. I think these kind of poster signings and like when I was signing merch at the venue, it just, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool like that. Like you can know, rest easy at night, no matter what the message is, that it's a one of one. And I think that's what matters, right? Who cares what it says? You're gonna get a million notes in your lifetime that says thank you for this, thank you for that, love you, love this.
One of the final steps
But these are things that you guys spend your money on, so I think it's important to have something unique.
Explanation that allows the suspect to admit guilt in a less serious manner. This is usually done by asking them if it was an accident. But here the detectives play on Tori's age and personality to try and make him believe that they believe it was a prank, making the bait more interesting to take.
Sean, do you guys go back in just to pull a prank? Is that what happens?
You're into that kind of stuff. I mean, for all intents and purposes, and tell me if I'm screwed up. You like horror movies, you like scare movies and stuff like that. That's what I've been told about you. You dig those kind of movies, right? Did you go in there just to scare them, just scare the crap out of them, and be done with it, Tell us about that. Help us understand a little bit about
it. Hate reacting corn, my god. There's a Facebook group for that.
We can help you.
Can I talk to an attorney?
You can do that.
Can you talk to me?
Probably, yeah.
Despite not getting a complete confession from Tori, the detectives already had everything they needed to put the two away for life. And that's exactly what happened. On the 21st of August, 2007, both Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in jail without the possibility of parole. While waiting to be arrested, Tori sat motionless, likely rethinking everything he did that led him up to this point. A complete contrast to the blood-curdling reaction of Alyssa Bustamante.
Was her throat cut?
Yeah.
Steve.
Grandma?
Oh my God.
This is the moment teenager Alyssa realized her life would never be the same. Elizabeth, a now deceased girl, was asked to play at Emma and Alyssa's house, but somewhere between Emma and her own house, she disappeared. Later on, Emma noticed a spot of blood on Alyssa's pants. Police then discovered a grave that had been dug, to which Emma admitted to digging. Elizabeth's body was discovered in a second, more hidden grave later, strangled, throat slit, and stabbed 8 times. Alyssa begins the interrogation by explaining her whereabouts that evening. We join her as she recounts the interaction with Emma near the thorn bush.
I came back around 5:36-ish, and I went up in my room, and I heard like yelling. So I went outside, and she was down in the ditch area. She was stuck in thorn bushes. So I went down there, and I helped her out. And she asked
I'll be right
me
back.
why I was waiting, because I found out on my period. They're like, yeah, don't tell anyone that. And so we went out there, and my brother and Andy were asking me about because she was supposed to be at home or something.
Okay.
And I didn't really think much of it, so we just went back to the house.
It's immediately evident how uncomfortable Alyssa feels in this setting. She's been physically blocked in by the detectives and is being pressed about the murder of a 9-year-old girl. As she talks, Alyssa's head is constantly moving up and down, likely in what's referred to as a pacifying behavior. The constant rocking motion can give safety and comfort to somebody that's feeling stressed, but it is also obviously a sign of distress. The nodding motion could also be a movement to reassure her that what she's saying is correct. She's also leaning left into the corner and occasionally shrugging her right shoulder in a way that's almost blocking her off from the detective. It seems that Alyssa is trying to seek refuge in the very corner of the room, implying that she has her defenses up and has something to hide.
We ended up going to church, and I don't know, a lot of stuff happened while we were there, because it's from 7 to 8:15-ish. And when we came back, there was 3 shared cars in our property, and there was people out searching everywhere.
So you got back at 8, and then, what did they tell you? What?
Well, they were like, yeah, there's 3 shares here. People were out searching for her. They can't find her.
They just said
And
she was missing?
they were questioning me about the day. They didn't actually question me that day though, because I went up to take a shower, and then I don't know, they just left or something.
So they just told you it was missing?
My grandpa did, yes.
How did that make you feel?
I didn't think it would happen.
Alyssa was asked how Elizabeth's disappearance made her feel, but she responded with what she thought. This is a first example of a pattern that will emerge in Alyssa's speech that exposes an interesting trait within her. Alyssa had always been described as an emotional, angry, and depressed person. On her YouTube channel, she listed cutting as one of her hobbies, and in 2007 had attempted suicide by overdose. Alyssa also admitted to digging the graves to bury dead animals she found, but many have speculated it was her that had killed them in the first place. Her boyfriend also freely admitted to being scared of Alyssa in his own interview, stating he had reason to believe she would kill him and his family if he so much as talks to the police. Alyssa also had an explicit hatred of authority, and of course, struggled to understand and convey her feelings. While she'd never been diagnosed, all of these points are hallmarks of a psychopath, something that will only become clearer as the interrogation continues.
There's been, there were some folks out there, out in the forest, I guess, digging some holes or looking at some holes. And I guess, they had said that you like to go out there and dig holes. So, I'm going to have to ask you some stuff about yourself.
Okay.
Because, obviously that plays in there if they were looking holes and you're out there in the forest and that sort of thing. So I guess just tell me a little bit about yourself so I understand where all this is coming from.
I really like nature, animals, being outside. It's
Okay.
it's just, nature and stuff like that. And I get bored really easily, and I'm entertained really easily.
Okay.
So, digging holes is just something to do.
Tell me about these holes you dig.
Well,
You dig them a certain way every time, or just dig a hole?
Just dig a hole, pretty much.
Okay. Just wherever they're at? I mean, do you dig at a certain spot or what?
Well,
Alyssa makes it seem like digging holes in the woods is a completely normal thing for a 15-year-old girl to do. While strange, it does border on the edge of plausibility. After all, she lives on a large plot of land in a town with below 1,000 residents. There probably isn't that much to do. What's curious, though, is her unwillingness to explain anything to do with how or why the holes are dug.
When did you dig it?
Ooh. I think my grandpa would have the exact time. We didn't go to church Sunday, right? Because we were at Mom's house, I believe. I was at my mom's house for the weekend.
Okay.
She lives at the lake. And we came back around 5, and I know I dug it before dark, so it was sometime in between. Wait, what time did we come home?
I didn't pick you up till 6.
Well, it must have been in between like 6:37, I guess.
You picked her up where?
Eugene.
You picked her up at 6 p.m. at Eugene?
Right.
And it's how long of a drive?
Half hour.
So you got back home 6:30, 6:45-ish probably?
Maybe been right at 6:30.
6:30?
About 25 minutes.
Well, it's getting dark by then.
Yeah.
So you got home at 6:30.
Yeah.
And how did you dig a hole at what? So what did you
Well,
do
that's
Sunday? Well, I'm not asking what your grandpa. When you got home at 6:30 on Sunday, what did you do then?
Oh, I think I took a shower and went to sleep, so I don't think I did it. I think it was Saturday, actually. No, because I wasn't here Saturday.
You weren't here Saturday.
Did I tell you guys I've been trying to gain weight?
Monday.
Though I've been sick, I gained a lot of weight actually.
All of a
I
sudden,
gained like
Alyssa's
8 pounds.
story begins to fall apart.
And I've been trying to my goal is 180 pounds.
Which is a direct contrast
And then
to
from
how
there
Amelia
I'm
was
gonna
describing things
so I'm
earlier.
bulking, and then
Detective
from
is
there I'm
obviously aware
gonna
of this,
I'm
but
gonna
is
cut
choosing
like
not to mention
crazy.
it right now, and instead saves it for later in the
I
interrogation.
think it'd be much
when
better
things
for me
really
too.
start to heat up. It's also worth noting that just seconds later, when pressured on the events of Friday, she begins to touch her face and move her hair around, a behavior we haven't yet seen from her. This implies that she's growing more and more uncomfortable with the questions and her position within the interview.
Why did you dig that hole?
Because I was bored and I felt like doing something.
Tell me about that hole, though. It's a very specific hole. It's a very unique hole, I should say.
Are all of your holes like that?
No.
Okay.
But why? You dug the hole, so you know what I'm talking about.
발전은 중입니다. Looking season.
I mean, whatever shape comes to mind. I was just entertaining myself.
The reason I'm asking, it just seems like and you can understand why, as if people were out in the woods looking for a person, if they were lost, or God forbid, looking for, if they thought it was God forbid, a body, why they would be alarmed by that hole. Most people, if they were just going to bury a bunny or something out there, they dig. Well, I'm digging a hole, by God, just dig a hole. But for a 15-year-old girl to dig a perfectly rectangle 3 by 4 or 5 square rectangle hole, it just caught a lot of people as very odd.
That makes sense. It does.
The hole in question, of course, looks suspiciously like a grave, one intended for a small human. For this to have been dug around the same time that a girl around that size disappeared by someone who has never dug a hole of that nature is extremely unusual. But that alone is little reason for the detective to be so captivated by details such as the time and the exact reason for the hole. That owes to the fact that if it's determined that the hole was dug by Alyssa as a grave for Elizabeth before the murder, then it becomes obvious that the murder was planned. This changes it from second to first-degree murder.
Hey, Shill, thank you. Appreciate that.
I really
Hope you
don't
enjoy my
think she
music.
would run away because she's 9, and the way that they've been searching for 2 days, never got any sign of her. So I think that maybe someone kidnapped her or something. It's a terrible thing, but I don't know what else to assume.
The detective continues to ask self-reflective questions for a while, such as, what type of person do you think would commit a crime like this? Forcing her to picture herself from another perspective should she be guilty. This can often cause slip-ups in either verbal or body language. But when Alyssa answers them all without issue, the detective decides to take a break and comes back with a shocking new piece of evidence.
Now, it's my understanding that did the FBI do a search or something of the house where you guys lived?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. What was that all about?
They searched our house, I guess, for any signs of, and they found stuff in my room, but not like evidence like that. They found like marijuana seeds and
And you understand, I don't care about marijuana seeds or any of that.
and they found
Care less.
my medication.
Did they take anything else?
I don't think so. I haven't really surveyed anything.
Okay. Okay.
I think they took clothes
No, they took a pair of my pants.
and a diary.
You ever gone through the diary?
I've looked at some of it, yes.
Okay. Did you know that?
No,
Does it make you angry?
a little.
Yeah. It's kind of your private, personal thoughts, isn't it?
What's inside the diary proved to blow the entire case wide open. Of course, Alyssa was an incredibly troubled girl. Inside the diary, there were many horrifying entries, including her desire to burn an entire house down with a family inside. Her walls were also covered in disturbing drawings and messages, but the most telling piece of evidence was this passage that she attempted to scribble out. However, the FBI managed to recover the original writing, which read as follows: I just killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them. Now they're dead. I don't know how to feel at the moment. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, oh my god, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. Okay, I gotta go to church now. LOL. You can't really get any more incriminating
Dude.
evidence than that.
That is
Now
crazy.
all that's left to do is extract a confession.
We have your diary. We've read your diary, including the last entry. We both know what we're talking about here. Where's she at?
I don't know.
You need to tell us the truth. You need to tell us what happened. If this was an accident, that's fine, but we need the truth. We have to give this family some closure. Just like if this was your little sister, you would want closure.
Going to church is crazy after
This
that.
family
It really
needs
is.
closure. Okay?
Alyssa's silence here strongly indicates guilt. Upon being confronted with this accusation, an innocent person would likely be fighting tooth and nail to make them believe they're not guilty. But as Alyssa simply stares and takes the facts on the chin, she's obviously past the point of trying to defend herself, and is now just trying to think of how she can get out of this situation with as little punishment as possible.
Let's start at the beginning. Is this something that was planned out, or was this just an accident?
It was an accident.
Okay.
Allowing Alyssa to label the murder an accident is the 7th stage in the Reed technique, a system of 9 steps used within interrogations that is exceedingly good at extracting confessions. The detective has been using the technique throughout the entire interview, applying pressure with it. Now that Alyssa has been backed into a corner, she's been offered an easier, more acceptable explanation, which, when admitted to, allows the detective an opening to press her further and close out the confession.
Well, this is a starting point then.
That's crazy.
What I thought. we start with? Why don't we start with?
How do you kill someone and bury them on accident is a great question.
How did you kill her?
She died.
How did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die.
We were messing her out. And she fell back and hit her head.
Was her throat cut?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no, the mom.
Oh my god.
Oh no. You know what the saddest thing is about all these situations? The saddest thing is that the parents have to live with that truth for the rest of their life.
Karen has just learned that the girl she rescued and adopted from her previous abusive household and raised for 7 years had just killed a 9-year-old girl in cold blood. Her entire world has just been ripped apart right in front of her. Her reaction brought out a legitimate emotional reaction in Alyssa stronger than any we'd seen up to this point. Psychopaths and sociopaths are often known to exhibit regular emotions when it's their family involved, even though they may lack them in other areas.
I think you dug the hole ahead of time because you knew you were going to kill her. I think you tried to dig the hole, like I said, and realized it was too hard to dig down that far.
So sad. Killed a 9-year-old. Yeah, that grandma's just going through it.
You got out there.
And it's not like they've done anything bad, you know? Yeah.
And then you cut her throat. Is that what happened? Yes.
And with that, Alyssa has confessed to the murder of Elizabeth Alton. It was also determined that the hole had been dug a full 5 days before the murder and was sentenced to life behind bars.
Dude. Crazy.
Hi,
Husband loses it.
There's a lady on the side of the road. She's chained up. She needs an ambulance.
Do you know where you are? Are you chained up?
And then I saw the small revolver.
Take a deep breath, sweetie. Who chained you up? Do you know the person or were you kidnapped?
When a young mother goes missing while out for a run, the news of her kidnapping makes national headlines. After 22 days of searching with no sign of her anywhere, her loved ones were beginning to lose hope. That is, until she miraculously reappeared, starved and beaten, but alive. However, the relief was short-lived. Her kidnapping was only the tip of the iceberg. It would take over 4 years to unravel the unbelievable and carefully organized lies. Nothing was at all as it seemed to be. Not much is conclusively known about the events of Sherry's morning on November 2nd, 2016, except for a few things. The 34-year-old mother woke up early inside her Redding, California home. Her husband Keith left for work around 7 o'clock. Sherry got her 2 young kids ready, fed them breakfast, and dropped them off at Pandora's daycare like she did every day.
Yeah.
Seeing as her husband was at work and her kids were at school, these are the only few aspects of Sherry's morning that could be verified. But it's what happened next that would turn the lives of Sherry and her family upside down and leave the nation stunned. Supposedly, after doing some chores around the house, Sherry changed into some athletic wear and set out for a run. She stepped outside her front door, did some light stretching, then skipped off the porch and began jogging down the road. When Keith returned home from work around 5 p.m., his wife's car was in the driveway. He expected to walk in and find Sherry and the kids running around just like any other day. He stepped inside, and there was silence. This was extremely strange. Sherry was a stay-at-home mom, and she'd usually pick their children up from daycare by the time he got home from work. Still, Keith sat down, turned the TV on, and tried to relax. Sherry had probably taken the kids for a walk, nothing too out of the ordinary. He sent his wife a text inquiring about her location, but got no reply. He called his mother, but she hadn't heard from Sherry either. He then used
they're
the
happy
Find My
family.
iPhone app on his phone in an attempt to locate Sherry's phone, and was relieved when it pinged at the nearby intersection of Sunrise Drive and Old Oregon Trail. However, his relief was short-lived when it appeared that nothing had been taken from the house to carry their 2 small children in. He called the children's daycare at 5:45 and learned they had never been picked up. As worry set in, he drove to find Sherry at the intersection where her phone had pinged. However, she was nowhere to be found. He pinged Sherry's phone a second time and located it nearby in the grass, abandoned. Not long after that, he made this 911 call.
Hello, can I help you?
So I just got home from work, and my wife wasn't there, which is unusual, and my kids should have been there by now from like daycare. I found her phone, and it's got like hair ripped out of it, like in the headphones. So I'm like totally freaking out, thinking like somebody like
What's her?
grabbed her.
Is her vehicle there? Does she not have a vehicle?
She has a vehicle at the house.
Okay, the vehicle is at the house?
She's running.
How? Okay.
Yes, I'm in it right now driving, and I took a picture of her phone on the ground before I picked it up.
When's the last time you heard from her?
She sent me at 10:47 asking me if I was coming home from lunch from work. Something happened to her is the way I'm looking at it.
I understand you're freaking out a little bit. We wanna make sure we get your kids. Make sure they're okay.
Do you want me to wait right here for somebody, or?
If you want to head back to your residence so they can contact you there, and in case she does return.
Okay.
Okay.
Police soon arrived to talk to Keith, but according to him, he knew nothing about what could have happened to his wife. The immediate area was looked over, and after coming up with nothing, they organized a formal search. In the following days and weeks, the search area would grow, and so would the number of people searching. Neighbors, friends, family, and volunteers from all over California would join what ended up growing into a widespread manhunt for Sherry.
Crazy.
All the while, Keith was at the forefront of the campaign to find his wife. While it's true that people go missing every day whose faces aren't plastered on the news, the rally to bring Sherry home garnered more media
You guys were in an
attention
active shooter situation a day after the show?
Sherry's picture was underneath headlines.
You guys
across the
okay?
country.
What
The
the?
story quickly caught fire, and Keith, as well as the police, were getting
You guys
calls
are
from
good.
media outlets left and right for intel on the case. But truthfully, there weren't many updates to give them. Investigators weren't able to lift anything useful from Sherry's cell phone.
America's
Being the
mad
only
side
piece of
open for you.
evidence they had,
Hey, man.
detectives found themselves with no real direction
That
to
side
go
was great.
in. They quickly turned their
Appreciate
attention
him
to
coming
Sherry's
out.
husband to see what he knew about his wife's
And put it on a great
disappearance.
show.
What detectives would end up uncovering through their conversation with Keith were unsettling details pertaining to an unhealthy side of his and Sherry's relationship, or what some might call motive. What you're about to see is newly released footage of one of the police's earliest conversations with Keith, which took place shortly after Sherry went missing. The footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, a former licensed professional counselor, and a licensed professional counselor.
But like a normal route for her run, would she run on Old Oregon Trail, Paracas back?
She would normally go to the mailboxes and back. Now, she's been running more and more. She wanted to get ready for the Casa run. We're all gonna go to it's like the Casa where everybody jumps up superheroes.
Okay.
You know, now when I used to run, I'm not gonna mailbox and bag. That's nothing, you know. So I would go.
Did an amazing show by the looks of it. Look, Liddy. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother.
Now,
through Paracas?
I'd go Paracas and I'd come home sunrise.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that she was like, hey, I'm going to step up my, running. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to walk the Old Oregon, and then I'm going to run again or something.
Yeah.
And I keep going back to something like that because the way the phone is, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen, I know I showed you a picture. It's weird to me. That's all my ideas, but my latest idea is I don't think it happened there. I think where the T is, where you can go Paracas for sunrise, I think it happened somewhere in there because there's no houses except for that crack house. So I think two guys or something in a car, they drive, the phone gets cell phone range again. It doesn't have cell phone range right there. It makes a sound, or something, and they go, oh, and they grab it. And
Wait,
they
how
give it
is
a little
he?
shock, so it bounces, and then it
How
kind of,
is he like?
it's still
Is he guilty?
so that's why
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
there's
I was writing this.
random stories I've been getting. Obviously, you have tips. I was hoping maybe you could see if you did get some good tips. We're allowed to talk about that. But one of the girls was like, oh, I saw her run by at 11:30, and I heard a scream over my radio at 2, and the cops never talked to me. And I'm like,
Plot
so they came to
twist.
your house
Uh
at
oh.
like 1 a.m. because it was that weird house with the shady people. So I'm like, so then everybody wants to talk to all these people now, and I feel like there should be a dog going to the house knock just to see if it smells anything around their house, because I still feel it's somebody. I don't think that lives near me, but I think it's an acquaintance of somebody down my street. Is my theory. Because some guy driving on the road, he's like, hey, hop on, pull in, let me throw it in. I mean, that seems totally not logical, but not ruling it out.
And another part of our day yesterday was to see if this.
Yeah,
was
he's
voluntary
definitely not
or
innocent.
not.
He's way
Like
too
this.
calm.
And we ran
Way
that
too
stuff out,
calm.
and we're still back to where we are. Yeah. We know where she's at. We know where her phone is. We have a rough time estimate of that. As far as they hear the scream over the radio, we have talked to her. Just like talking, it's hard to verify certain things. The 11 o'clock fits lots of other stories and people talking to us.
I'm saying 11 to 12 she left, and I think 11:10 she started running. Based on text message, based on the guys that were cutting that tree right there that saw her.
Oh, I know you're not Sai. Or I know you're not mad.
Been brainstorming a lot
I just
concerning
assumed
his
you were a
wife's
fan.
disappearance, as would any spouse who's desperate to find their partner. However, someone who wants to keep suspicion away from them could also benefit from planting theories and steering the investigation in a particular direction. In a missing persons case, the victim's partner is very often one of the first and most thoroughly investigated of the suspects, and Keith is likely aware of the detective's suspicions. The spouse is often looked at closely when their partner disappears, so the detective is likely suspicious of Keith right now.
The only other thing I was thinking is also maybe she got tired and sat down, and that's why the phone was like that. I was like, that's a weird. You saw it.
It's not
Why the hell would you sit there? Yeah. And she wouldn't let her get her butt dirty. I know her. And then why would she leave the phone? And if some guy pulled out, she would scream. So I don't know. Or there would have been a kick mark. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah. But I saw anyway.
Keith not only recognizes but points out holes in the abduction theory. This is an indicator that he's being truthful with detectives. Someone who's guilty in this situation would have more to gain by pushing the idea that she was taken, rather than tearing it down.
Now, one thing I heard, and
yeah, he's way too calm.
You guys have to go with facts, but I heard Senko, and he's like, at this point, it's not an abduction. Me, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, why are you saying it is?
The shows were really fun for me.
You have no
I thought I could have sang a little bit better, but other than that, I had a really good time. I hope you guys did too.
My family member,
and I think a lot of people did, so I'm really, really happy about the shows.
They can look at me all they want. Like, I'd be pissed if they were wasting resources on me. I understand that they need to look at me, but I was like, if there was a team of 5 guys looking into me, and this whole time they should know, okay, it wasn't him. We need to go here. I'm gonna be like, I'm kidding you. So sorry, I'm getting upset, but I wanted to bring it to your attention.
So I don't know why that was said, but that fine line, the big scheme of things, per paper, per what we're putting out there, she's a missing person at risk with suspicious circumstances. That's the legal mumbo jumbo.
Okay.
That's not to believe that we're not investigating this like it's an abduction.
Okay.
The legal term is missing person at risk under suspicious circumstances.
All right.
That's why that was said.
All right.
So it's not suspicious circumstances for us, for paper, whatever, for that side of stuff, is the abduction, or what we believe possibly is an abduction. So we're running that down as an abduction at this point until evidence tends to show us
one or the other.
Most innocent individuals will be cooperative with an investigation, but they may express anger or dismay at being wrongfully accused. Given that this is a missing persons case, there's an even greater sense of urgency to find Sherry before it's too late. It's justified that Keith would be frustrated by the idea of police possibly wasting time looking into him.
In the meantime, I think you should have questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, based on that, we're looking at you? Yes, we are looking at you. I told you that from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We're not wasting resources on it, but to get to
You have to cancel me out.
To fully get to the next step, not saying that there's not detectives on that next step. To fully get to that next step, we have to look at you. Because if we don't, it's irresponsible.
When the detective definitively informs Keith that he's a suspect, Keith leans forward and puts his hands on the table. A gesture that indicates that he's being open and has nothing to hide. Though his mannerisms suggest that he'd have no reason to be involved, the troubling undertones of their relationship might suggest otherwise.
What was going on in your guys' relationship in February of this year?
I would have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming it would be related to maybe a text message, and then we go back and forth and we say mean things when we get in arguments.
Seeing as the detective is asking about something that occurred 9 months prior, it's not too concerning that Keith can't seem to remember. But his response does provide us with some key information concerning the extent of their relationship troubles. If someone rarely gets into fights with their spouse, it's more likely that they'd remember a fight from months ago. It would be such an unusual event that it would stand out in their memory. However, if a couple's relationship dynamic involves frequent screaming matches, it would be more difficult to remember each one because it's such a regular
Getting pretty close, guys.
They start to blend together.
You concentrated more like recently everything's fine. Recently things have been fine.
Definitely.
And which it all appears that way.
Oh, yeah. I understand you need to go back because you're asking, I mean, you guys are good and you guys have your arguments. Sherry is definitely very, she wants the, I don't know, try to figure out how to do this here. We get in arguments and she blows up, not through Facebook or anything, but she'll definitely make a big scene and get very mad. And she's kind of a slam door type of a person. Me, I'm like, don't, you're gonna break. I am more of, I want to leave and go and leave the situation and be cool, but then I get in trouble for that because that makes her upset. So I don't leave now. I sit there and I go, calm down, calm down, calm down. Then she'll like want to, verbally kind of attack, if you will. And then she'll say some mean things. And then after so much, I'll say some mean things. Then we are upset. And then within like a day, hey, that was pretty wild last night, right? And then we're all good because we have kids. I don't like when she yells and gets mad in front of the kids. It's like, I remember when I was a kid, my parents used to fight. I hated that. So it could have been something where we fought about, yes, but you can't do that around the kids. So I am willing, if you want me to, I'll go and read, or you can tell me what the exact fight was, and I'll tell you everything about it.
What Keith is describing could qualify as an emotionally abusive relationship, with Sherry being the abuser and himself being the victim. Her alleged explosive temper could be seen as a manipulation tactic to get Keith to do what she wants. However, without Sherry here to give her side, it's difficult to know what's actually true. When a partner is abusive, especially in the form of emotional abuse, it's not uncommon for them to try to twist the situation to make the victim
Like
seem
20
somehow
CDs left.
responsible for the abuse. One way they do this is to gaslight the victim and make them feel that their feelings are invalid. This can cause the victim to feel crazy.
Yeah,
and
we're almost
question
done
their
though.
own
We've done most
feelings,
of them here.
and sometimes even leads to extreme cases of the victim acting out. In that case,
Dude, if this package gets damaged too, I'm gonna flip a switch. I'll be so pissed at these shipping people. Anyway.
It makes it even easier for the abuser to flip the script, since the victim outwardly appears as the unstable one in the relationship, when really they're being driven to that behavior by the abuser's manipulation. Regardless of who's fueling the fire in their relationship, the conditions Keith is describing are very unhealthy.
Are these loud arguments?
No, for her, she will get loud. And I was telling you guys the story got kind of cut off. We have had the sheriff's out at her house one time. It's probably not on record because we weren't fighting. We were watching a movie, The Book of Eli, and some lady called saying she heard glass breaking and a woman screaming. And they came out and we're like, what are you doing here? And it ended up being kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're not going to report this. This is stupid. But we've never had, like a domestic ever in history. Reported. Not reported or even think. We would. So we have a funny, weird relationship where we joke about that stuff because we were at Halloween at at a friend's house, and we were playing this Ninja Fruit Slice with the Wii, and I went to slice the thing, and I hit her, like, right in the eye, and she had, like, a black eye, and we were at a friend's house, and we were like, oh my God, it was like Halloween 2011 or 12. So then, because we don't live that lifestyle, she'd be like, oh, what happened? And I'd be like, she didn't put the dishes away. Like, I'm making jokes like that. So everybody knows us as being like, you know, jokers or something like that, but we would never in the history.
All right. So back in 2011-ish, is that when that incident happened?
With the Wii?
Yeah.
Give me a second here. Like, we didn't have kids yet, so I'm trying to remember.
Pre-kids. This situation happened.
Pre-kids, and I can't even tell you the people of the house that I was at.
Because there's noise. I've heard about this incident.
That's funny.
But it wasn't the Wii game. I heard the Wii game was like the cover for it.
Those are the people that were actually there.
Okay. And that works. And I talked to Lori yesterday.
Oh, okay.
The fact that Keith is making light of the incident, given the circumstances, will likely stand out to the detective as concerning behavior. It's no laughing matter that someone he knows is claiming that he's covering up abusive behavior. It's possible that he's using humor as a coping mechanism to ease his feelings of discomfort. It's also notable that Keith chooses this moment to remove his jacket. When someone encounters something they deem a threat, such as the abuse accusation, they may begin to feel hot and exhibit physical symptoms such as clamminess or sweating. An innocent person might demand to know who would make such an accusation and insist that the accuser is lying. Keith, however, doesn't seem interested in where the accusation is coming from, which is a possible red flag. But he may not appear concerned because he believes the references he provided can easily confirm his story. As well, it's possible he finds it funny because he's confident in what actually happened. So he thinks it's stupid that someone lied about it.
I'm trying not to. In this moment, I don't want to talk bad about her, but you're kind of.
And
I'm not saying you're forcing me, but I want to tell you everything because I don't.
We're not talking bad about her.
She will, kind of come at me. I'm a hug and hold until you calm down kind of a guy.
So there are people who say that they've heard arguments coming from the house. Not saying on a regular basis, just that they've heard actual arguments.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, she gets very vocal, loud. I'm like, come in the house. Don't be yelling because I hate more than anything bringing attention to stuff like that. And she's very loud when she gets upset.
Okay.
And I'm more of like, calm down, just calm down, calm down.
The other thing we heard was the voicemail from Richard.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. I just got on my phone.
Yeah, because he called you individually and then her individually.
Wait.
There's.
Are you talking about?
There's a
voice, the horrible one from him.
Yeah.
Richard is Sherry's father. Sherry is said to have had a poor relationship with her parents most of her life, especially with her mother, Loretta. Following Keith's interrogation,
Hug and hold until you die is crazy. What?
From people who witnessed it. A few lifelong friends of hers.
Hug and hold till you die is actually crazy. I think we have like 20 left, maybe?
When they were kids, they would give them presents on Christmas and let them open them all and then take them all back. And say that's what your punishment is for not mowing the lawn. Like, they're horrible when it comes to that. But for whatever reason, even all they put them through, she feels the need to keep them in their life. And I'm like, it's your call on it. That's fine. I'll back you up.
Police records dating back to 2000 and 2003 suggest a rocky relationship between Sherry and her family. Alleged altercations include claims that Sherry kicked in a door at the Grafe home, that she made an unauthorized withdrawal from her parents' bank account. Though these events haven't officially been confirmed to have taken place, the allegations are troublesome.
The reason this thing started is it was about a birthday, our daughter's 2-year birthday, and she rented out like this big hall in Shasta Lake City, and we made a carnival, like we had all these board games, and we had lots of kids. And the parent, they said, oh, we can't make it. We have a boat drag race. And then they got mad at her for scheduling it. Then the dad called, and he's like, how dare you F this, you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you heard it. It was horrible. So she got that, sent it to me. So that's how that voicemail got sent. So then she sent some emails. I'm assuming you saw some of those. All right, we got some emails from them that were horrible. And I'm like, are you kidding me? These are just ridiculous. We had, in the very beginning, which I don't like talking about, we had a little blip where she went to like some big like conference thing in some other state on AT&T. And there was like a text message, and met this cute guy, and whatever. And I came across this. What the fuck is this? We got in a big fight. I was extremely hurt. We didn't even have kids yet. I was like, I don't want to get divorced. You know, she didn't do anything with the guy, but I was like, this is how the f are you doing that? You know, I was like super scared and afraid. I was like, we're gonna get a post nuptial. So I went out and I got one. She's like, I'll sign whatever, like an
9. Notice that Keith describes the text message situation as a little blip. However, the resulting
17.
explosive argument clearly suggests otherwise. Keith
Unless
might
my
have a
brain
general
fog is
tendency
taking
of
over my
minimizing
mind
the
and my
issues
math
in his and
abilities.
Sherry's marriage. On the other hand, he might be downplaying their problems to dissuade the detective from looking at him as a suspect in Sherry's disappearance or a perpetrator of domestic abuse. He also seems to gloss over how exactly he stumbled across the text messages in Sherry's phone. The fact that Keith read her texts in the first place indicates that there was already some level of distrust in their relationship before that incident.
But we make up, and then we both, you know, we never get divorced. We'll never get divorced. Like, we're locked tight. We know that we go through these, and a lot of people are getting divorced. We're not that couple.
We're looking for any shred of anything.
Coincidentally, a series of text messages between Sherry and a man by the name of Donovan Misk found their way into the investigation shortly after her disappearance. It seems the two were communicating in the days leading up to Sherry's departure, and even trying to coordinate a time to meet up. In the end, they were unable to establish a feasible plan. Donovan was soon cleared of any involvement, as it was verified by his cell phone records that he'd never made his
Wrist
way
is
to the Reading
A-okay.
area as they discussed.
The only thing I can think of would be her laptop.
But if there is a computer there, and we're trying to find the skeleton life. Everybody's got a personal life, a private life, public life, and skeleton. So is that possible to get that stuff today?
The laptop, yeah, I've really been using the iPad, so I don't really want to give that up.
Although it may seem odd for Keith to not want to hand over evidence that could potentially assist police to find Sherry, this doesn't necessarily point to his involvement in his wife's disappearance. However, it does indicate that there might be something on the iPad that he'd rather the police not see. Regardless of the reasoning, an attorney will almost always advise you not to willingly hand over your phone or other devices unless the police have a warrant. Either way, judging by the exasperated face rub, Keith is stressed by the detective's request, something the officer will surely note.
What's today's goal?
We have people.
Sharpies really be pulling
we have
through.
people looking for surveillance. We have people contacting the people who've already been caught. So like the tips, like people are going and actively working. So we are a fishnet out there. Everybody's doing something. So we don't.
No, it's fine. That's part of me wanting to like shut I-5 down for anybody coming and going.
Everybody's got a piece of this in our agency.
Go over there. I'll get that. And I'll just call you later.
Yep.
Keith wasn't the only one who could offer a look inside Sherry's life. Police also had several interesting conversations with people close to Sherry. Everyone had something fascinating to say, though some of their claims would sharply contrast Keith's description of his marriage.
Did she talk to you about like the ins and outs of her life and relationship with Keith?
She was never real specific with a lot of things. I mean, I definitely knew that there have been some problems going on for quite a while with them. It was very obvious in her behavior.
How could you describe that to me?
She would flake, which is something she would never do. You know, you'd make plans with her and she wouldn't show up, or she would give you some lame excuse as to why she wasn't there later.
Has she ever made claims of like abuse or anything like that on like Keith's behalf to you?
No.
I hear she gets explosive when she's angry.
Yes, I knew her as a kid. We always called her crazy. You know, she was crazy. She was wild. She was out of control. I'm not surprised.
Why did I write she? Hello, thank you so much for all the love that she. I was paying too much attention to the call just now. Sorry.
Have a history of running away. Do you guys know that this isn't really out of character for her? You know, she may have had a plan that maybe she never thought of using, and then the day she went missing, I don't know if they got in a fight, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it was just she had a mental breakdown and said, I can't do this anymore, I'm done, and left. And my concern now is this has gotten so big so fast.
She's super
she
mom
ran
of the world.
away, and
Oops.
now she's decided, I had a mental breakdown, I made a mistake, I want to come home. She can't.
Wait, why is everyone so
Sherry's
sus
friend
for
is
me?
very
Honestly,
insightful here with her response.
dude,
She
me
is
too.
correct. If Sherry left on her own, it would be very difficult for her to suddenly come home without facing judgment and repercussions
Sorry,
now,
excuse me.
as police had become involved. However, there is a key difference between her having run away as a child or teen and what might have happened in this situation. If Sherry staged false evidence to make it look like she was abducted, she might have felt she couldn't allow it to appear that she left willingly, as that could make her look like a bad parent. If she cared more about what everyone would think of her versus how her family would feel about her being kidnapped, this could suggest she has narcissistic tendencies.
So when Sherry and I were growing up, 15 years old, she ran away from home, went to San Ramon area, Walnut Creek. Well, we got back in touch with each other, and she ended up moving down to Orange County and with a boyfriend. She's had lots of boyfriends.
Orange County.
I do believe when she married Keith, her husband now, she had actually been active with as many men as she was years old.
Okay.
So, and Keith is aware of that. He knows that.
Was that a problem for him, or?
It was a problem for him, yes. You know, and then he came over and talked to me and said that he had, found out she was talking to an ex-boyfriend via email, and, that really upset him, and he just didn't know, why she was doing this type of situation. So there is a history of that.
What about like the last year between her and Keith?
They have seemingly been fairly happy. I mean, she, has expressed to me in the past. I can't tell you if it was for sure in the last year she said it, but if I ever try and leave him, he'll kill me.
Sherry's alleged promiscuity prior to marriage, along with instances of her talking to other men while she was married, may be attention-seeking behaviors caused by a personality disorder. An individual with borderline personality disorder may have a pattern of unstable relationships and impulsivity. They may also demonstrate intense or inappropriate displays of anger. To our knowledge, Sherry was not diagnosed with this disorder.
She even went down to, he will chop me up into little pieces and bury me in the backyard. That is verbatim out of her mouth.
And one of just our questions around the office is why she's a stay-at-home mom and takes the kids to daycare?
She really wanted the kids to be prepared for preschool, for real preschool and kindergarten. And her belief system was that going to a daycare, which, Pandora, that's it. She teaches them numbers and how.
Also, guys, the music has been doing pretty good recently. So always I've seen this kind of this downwards curvature of a graph. Here, let me downwards. Starting from when it streams the most is when it first comes out. But Castle in the Sky is doing this. It's going the opposite way. And my listeners have gone up I think 40,000 in the last maybe week. Share the music, guys. Send my music to all your friends. Now is the time to strike while the iron is hot.
The counts and the ABCs,
Ya know.
and they actually do work through play. And so she really
Send your friends my live clips. Make them understand. I must see Jay live.
She explained it to me, and that's why I don't think this is her doing. I really strongly feel like she would not leave those babies.
So I'm trying to figure out who Sherry is as a person.
She was definitely original. She was marched to the beat of her own drums. She never let society.
You spell baggage.
I know when when her and Keith first started dating,
Okay, I'm right.
there was a weekend I had been up in Reading visiting, and Sherry and I were out doing something, and she was telling me that Keith had made her, I guess he'd found some of her old journals, and I guess Keith made her
Wait,
throw
that's a
away
banger
all of her
tweet. Hold
old
on, or a
journals
thread.
because they had mentioned ex-boyfriends. I guess he'd gotten pretty upset over this issue.
Do you think that Sherry has the ability just to walk away?
No.
Like from her family?
That's a banger. That's a banger thread.
She was so family orientated.
So the tip is that there's a lot of verbal arguments and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and they get very loud. Sometimes it's in the middle of the day. Sometimes it's late at night.
I converted a dude on the plane to become a jar. Let's freaking go.
If you grew
That's
up
what I'm
out there,
talking
and
about.
I heard Keith grew up out there. Did you know him while you guys growing up?
He grew up across the
Can you come to
street from
Sweden?
us.
I
He's
would love to
never
go to
really been the
Sweden.
kind of guy that
I've heard
had a
so
lot of
many good
friends
things about
because he's
Sweden.
just not a nice guy.
Dude, and the
He puts on a really
Swedish
good
writers
show,
are
but
so
even that-
talented.
Police looked into leads like these.
Like Swedish folk music, like from earlier music that they were raised on, is like pop music of today. Like their lines are very similar.
All the while expanding their search throughout Shasta County, down the length of California, and even to other states. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office received theories from everyone regarding Sherry's case, including Facebook detectives, people who saw Sherry in dreams, and a surplus of self-proclaimed psychics. Over 600 tips and leads related to Sherry's disappearance poured into the tip line. Many feared Keith was behind Sherry's disappearance and implored detectives to take a closer look at him. However, it was eventually deemed that Keith was not responsible for Sherry going missing. He voluntarily took multiple polygraph exams, which didn't indicate deception. Other factors, along with these findings, led authorities to determine Keith wasn't involved in his wife's
Yeah,
disappearance.
Swedish people, Swedish top liners are really, really like. I respect them a lot because every time I've worked with one,
That he was indeed at work all
they've just been
day on
amazing,
November 2nd.
without question.
It should also be clarified that no allegations
I feel like a lot of
alleged by
European
Keith,
top liners are really,
visible
I
or
really
otherwise,
respect and I really,
have
really
ever
like.
been proven. In fact, as you'll see, police would find information that could possibly cast doubt on these allegations later down the road. But for now, detectives were at a standstill. None of the hundreds of tips nor any of the information they got from Keith got police any closer to discovering Sherry's whereabouts. Then, in the early hours of Thanksgiving Day 2016, something mind-blowing happened. It started around 4:30 a.m. when California Highway Patrol Dispatch received several concerning calls reporting a pedestrian on the freeway. These calls have never been released to the public until now.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Why, I wanted to report something in the middle of the freeway on I-5.
And what do you mean they're in the middle of the highway? In a car? Or they're standing there?
No, standing in the middle
What?
of the freeway. She's saying that she got kicked out of her boyfriend's.
Okay, just be safe where you are. What is she asking for?
She's asking for an ambulance. She's chained up, her vision's blurry, and she needs an ambulance.
Do you see her chained up?
Yes.
Can I talk to her? Please. Sherry, I need you to listen to me. Listen to me. Do you know where you are?
No. I've been in the car.
Okay, sweetie, listen to me. I need you to take a deep breath, calm down, and listen to what I'm saying. I have an officer en route. We've had several calls. Are you chained up?
Yes.
Okay, take a deep breath, sweetie. Who chained you up? Do you know the person, or were you kidnapped?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 left, guys.
I never saw her face.
Listen to what I'm at. Listen to what I'm at. Sherry, take a deep breath because it's hard to help you if I can't
Make
understand.
it ease on the last
okay?
posters? Sure.
How did you get chained up? What happened?
She took me.
Who took you? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
No, there was two of them.
Okay, listen. I have help on the way.
I want to call my husband. I want to call my husband.
Okay, listen. Take a deep breath. Where were you taken from?
From Reading.
You were taken from Reading?
Reading. I was in Reading.
Okay, how did someone take you? Okay, Sherry.
Oh, whoops.
We will get help with you and we will get your husband, but right now I need you to help me help you. Do you know how someone took you? How did they get you out from Reading? Ma'am, right now I need you to get me information so I can help you. We will get in touch with your husband as well, but right now. Okay, I have officers and I have ambulance on the way. Right now I need you to talk to me.
I want to call my husband. I want to call my husband.
The young wife and mother who'd vanished 22 days earlier seemed to appear out of thin air onto the shoulder of Interstate 5. When she was found, she looked malnourished and her wrists and ankles were bound with a mix of zip ties and what appeared to be hose clamps. Around her waist was a thick metal chain held together by a padlock. Police arrived and she was transported from the side of the highway to a nearby hospital.
Dude, her veins are like popping out.
Official police records indicate that Sherry was reluctant to speak with authorities at the time of her rescue. One detective stated that she seemed irritated by the questions he presented to her. However, Keith encouraged her to provide what information she could in order to aid in the investigation. It was also noted that Sherry told a responding officer she'd managed to escape, while she claimed to investigators that her captors had released her. To add further confusion, Sherry stated to Keith that she should have just ran. If she had, in fact, been chained up, however, this clearly wouldn't have been an option. In addition, Sherry told Keith that initially the truck driver who'd pulled over to provide her with assistance had frightened her. She feared she was about to have to fight him off. Perhaps her strangest comments were in regards to the outcomes of the recent presidential election and World Series championship. After all she'd been through, it seems these items should have been the least of her concerns. Here we have a first look at the real photos of Sherry's injuries taken by police, some of which are stomach-churning and may be disturbing to some viewers.
Really?
When she arrived at the hospital, doctors found a large hive-like rash covering her left arm. All manner of bruises, old, new, large, and small.
Oh, is that
across
meth?
most of her body. A number of bruises on her face.
It's
Her
meth,
lips were
right?
cracked, her nose was broken, and there was a deep hole in her left forearm caused by a burn. Most
Oh,
horrifically, she'd been freshly but shoddily branded on her back with a Bible verse by some heated tool.
what the?
Her
What?
captors had told her she was going to be sold to a police officer who would like the Exodus branding that had been applied to her shoulder. Perhaps this was the explanation as to why she was reluctant to speak with law enforcement upon her rescue. Overall, though disturbing, her injuries weren't life-threatening. Police, of course, had to ask her the question that everyone wanted to know. Where had Sherry been for the last 22 days? What she told them was completely unexpected. She reported to police that she had been kidnapped while running by two Spanish-speaking women who tortured her, barely fed her, and kept her chained in a closet inside their home. She also mentioned being transported by her captors in a dark vehicle, the make and model of which she didn't know. Sherry discussed her injuries and ailments with the hospital staff, including the doctor who was tasked with assessing her condition upon her arrival.
Sometimes if you are left enclosed for a while, you get kind of a heat rash here, and that's what that kind of looks like.
He explained the likely cause of the rash she'd sustained. According to Sherry, the women behind her imprisonment even made her wear an adult diaper. But that's the most detectives would get from Sherry that day. Sherry was bandaged up and returned home to her family. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office was abuzz, now convinced that they were now on the hunt for the two violent female abductors on the loose in California. 4 days later, detectives visited Sherry's residence to gather more from her about exactly where she'd been for the last 3 weeks.
Just ask you to tell us your information whenever we get going, and you just tell us everything as you want, and as we go.
Oh, sorry, I forgot E.
Clarify some stuff, and hopefully by the end of today, we have a very good idea of what's going on. I mean, so it's, like Al says, you're in control. You need to take a break. say when, and we'll go out there and all that kind of stuff, okay?
I feel like sometimes it's easier with my eyes closed.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can do anything you want, other than assault me or hit Kyle. You can hit Kyle all you want. I'm good with that. Just don't hit me.
Notice right off the bat how Sherry is sitting, very childlike, with her arms wrapped around her legs. She's exhibiting a lot of self-soothing yet juvenile behavior. It's very interesting that Sherry would ask to give her account with her eyes shut. When someone shields their face or eyes during a conversation, as Sherry has just requested permission to do, this is a blocking behavior that is typically considered evasive, and it can indicate that the topic is uncomfortable or distressing to them. Alternatively, it can also be a sign that they aren't confident in what they're saying, or even that they're lying. However, everyone handles trauma differently, and detectives must be mindful that a victim's individual needs are considered.
Also, my skin is still very itchy everywhere, so I apologize. Everything is itchy all everywhere.
I kind of want to. Oh, dude, there's like.
Sherry's alleged itchiness could potentially be her way of preemptively explaining future self-soothing behaviors.
Oh my god, I kind of want to see it though, man. I don't want to see it.
I have no.
Okay, so on November 2nd, 2016, what happened?
Did my usual routine, fed the chickens, cleaned the house, cleaned everything, just the usual.
Note her repetition of the word usual. She uses it to describe everything that was going on that day. By repeating that everything was usual, it keeps her from having to come up with details about what she actually did that morning.
Nothing, yeah. Text message to my husband.
I want to see it.
To come home for lunch. Which, looking back, is quite embarrassing.
Maybe we'll watch it.
He's like, thanks for, that last text message. Honey, will you please come home to with your wife for lunch?
So you went to daycare that morning, right? Do you remember that? Okay. Tell me about your drive to daycare.
좀만 더 이따 갈게요.
No, just the
normal day.
Yeah.
2x speed, you think?
Normal. Fed the kids breakfast.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of invested. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like really invested right now.
Sometimes they're like, no, don't leave me.
And then when you left daycare, tell me about what you did after daycare.
Drove back home.
Okay.
Did my usual. Put on my blue shoes. Went out to the chicken coop.
Good night, Kevin.
Cleaned the coop. And then just started my usual cleaning. Everything.
Oh, Smiling and Insomnia merch is ending. We have an ad coming out. I think we have like a week. Or maybe a little less than a week. We're taking it down on Sunday, I believe. Let me check.
So well that he knew what I was wearing.
Do some work.
And what were you wearing?
I was wearing that pink Nike hooded sweatshirt with the thumb holes that I hate. And the
Arrived to you, the
black,
ship, an additional package.
tight, I don't want to say they're leggings because they're a little thicker than that. The black, tight, stripy, not really stripy, just kind of black and white, speckled, we'll say. I want to be a better runner. I like to run, but it's difficult for me. So like getting back in the swing of it, I had an app that I would use that does, run this far, run this far, walk, and it amps you up to like a 5K. Started running, saw the maybe there was 3 guys cutting the tree at what's his name's house? The guy that did our Toby. Thank you. Toby's house. So down Casa, turned right onto Sunrise. Got to the mailboxes, or just before the mailboxes started to slow down, I was just about to transition into walk. So it's run, walk, run, walk. Right when I got towards the mailboxes was right before it was going to say,
Now slow down. That's what the app does.
We've listened to the app. It's pretty
God.
powerful. Now walk.
Yeah.
Now slow
You're
down.
halfway through.
Right? You're doing good.
Yeah.
So it's a funny app.
Sherry appears to want to be liked by the officers and seems to be trying to form a connection with them, which isn't necessarily unusual. She keeps her eyes locked on one of the detectives as she gives a dramatic replay of her running app. However, she's showing signs of classic rapport-building techniques done by narcissistic individuals. She presents herself as likable and someone in need of protection by highlighting her imperfections, along with a lot of sustained eye contact and dramatic focus.
So you get almost to the mailboxes and you think
Sorry, my lips are like cracking and
Do you need some water?
no, everything's like this.
So you're about
Painful right here. Sorry.
You're good. You're about to the mailboxes.
About to the mailboxes
And these are the mailboxes near.
at the end of the Sunrise Drive. My mailbox.
Sherry is exhibiting an array of grooming behaviors, further indicating the anxiety she's feeling. The exact reasons behind this discomfort are not yet known, but will soon be uncovered. Keith places a water bottle near Sherry after she mentions that her lips are dry. It's impossible to know his intentions at this moment, but it could be a genuine act of care or the affectation of a model husband for the detectives.
Before the mailboxes, I start to slow down. I see a vehicle go past. I see a vehicle go past Sunrise Drive to maybe like the front two tires are past the actual street sign, and then it backs up. And I immediately have that feeling of, that was weird.
You're doing good, Sherry. If you're having a
The window goes down, but it was a woman. And they back up.
Traumatic memories are often difficult to recall and talk about. This is sometimes a result of dissociative amnesia, or the brain's proclivity to block out certain memories that it deems too distressing. This occurrence is a product of survival instinct and serves as a protective mechanism that can help the individual cope after a traumatic event. However, note that as Sherry started to talk about being kidnapped, her lips disappeared. This indicates that someone is experiencing a negative emotion. Disappearing lips does not always mean someone is being deceptive. It just suggests that they're likely feeling anxious.
It's frustrating because I know she was wearing a hat, but I can't see the color and I can't see her clothes.
Once again, we see Sherry exhibiting blocking behavior, and she buries her face in her knees.
Let's talk about the big details. I'll make a note.
He asked for help. I want to say it's maybe like a hey or something to get my attention.
Is that the passenger or the driver? Is the car on Sunrise right now, or is it still on
No.
Old Oregon Trail?
It's on Old Oregon Trail. I walked towards where the vehicle had backed up, but was still far enough away from it that, because I was still cautious. I had my phone in my right hand and my earbuds on, and I took out my left to hear her. And then she opened the door. And then I saw the small revolver. And I immediately ducked down. I crouched down. Like in a ducking, crouching. It was, okay, so across the road, phone's in my hand, earbud out.
As she describes her story, Sherry acts out certain details wrong. She's repeatedly said it was her left earbud she pulled out, but consistently acts out reaching for her right ear. It doesn't seem like a huge deal, but when a lot of these mismatches show up, detectives will become rightfully suspicious.
Towards the vehicle, this, not all the way down, squatting, not crouching, squatting. Laid my phone down.
Perhaps in an effort to remember the details of her harrowing story, Sherry jotted down some notes that were later found during the course of the investigation. They included information about the alleged captors. The smaller, younger one had longer, curly hair, no bangs, and hairy arms. The bigger, older one had straight, thick, dark black hair and thick eyebrows.
I can't remember if she said, we don't want to hurt you, we don't want to kill you. I can't remember exactly if it's we don't want to something, we don't want to something, we don't want to something. And then I put my phone down. As soon as I set it down, I was so mad because I couldn't call my husband. And as soon as I set it down, and then I turned and I pulled my hair out because I ran away, and I didn't, and I should have, and I just, that's all I.
Do you want to come back up to the table?
And then I got up and went this direction. And I can't remember lifting my leg.
Sorry guys, I was doing some emails for a second.
Door open.
So sometimes your brain says, we're not accessing that part right now because it's not time. We're not ready for it. So I've done it in the past with different cases where you look at it from a different point of view.
Emails.
Your body uses different parts of your brain to access different pieces of information.
Dude, I would be so confused too. I'd be like, yo.
Going back
what?
to before you see the car, if there was a bird, a bluebird, a robin, whatever bird you pick, sitting on the fence line, sitting on the mailbox, sitting on the telephone line, or sitting in the tree, can you imagine in your mind, looking at it from the bluebird's perspective, what is that bluebird seeing going on?
Running to the mailboxes, cutting diagonally. I didn't cut diagonally until the vehicle stopped, backed up, and then stopped again. I stopped at the grassy area, squatted, pulled out my hair.
Whoa.
Had my hands up.
Pulled out your hair.
That is it.
Jay, I'll be honest, I forgot you was here.
Well, the car didn't
Excuse me?
move after it stopped, so I would say that would be the passenger side.
But you don't
What are you doing? Oh, I'm
It seems that the
trying to get the
basis of this
posters
trauma-informed technique is
into
having the
form.
victim talk from the outside without engaging the emotions of the first-person perspective. This makes recounting the event easier and less traumatic.
Trying to get the posters in good form.
Or what's the car doing?
Just like doing this right now.
It wasn't
Trying not to damage
what
him.
I saw, it was what I felt. I was very nauseous and cold.
Is the vehicle moving or stationary?
The vehicle was moving. It was windy.
Yeah, I'm patting the posters down.
Windy roads make me nauseous.
I'm giving them love, guys.
Do you remember getting out of the car?
No.
Dude, my hair is like the most bowl of bowls. It's so bowly.
The window in the vehicle was large?
My feet are sweating. I don't know why.
Yes.
Describe what do you mean by that? I mean, it's one of those, duh, Brian. Describe that for me.
Not like
Giving the posters
like a
love.
truck bed that's covered, like a SUV.
Okay.
But some SUVs are like shorter.
Right.
It was longer.
You're talking about from side to side?
Yes.
You're talking about the back, or if it
Not
is
the passenger door window. There was
Actual
another window
rear window.
past the passenger door window.
You and I are looking out Sunrise to Old Oregon Trail. Was the vehicle going this way?
Yep. And then backed up.
And then it backed up. So right now I'm pointing, that's northbound, and it backed up a little bit, then that's when you encounter.
Northbound's the side that's closest to Sunrise Drive, correct?
Correct.
Yes, then that's it. I'm very frustrated because if you're laying down in a
You're not believing my story.
a U-turn,
I'm upset because you don't believe me. What the fuck?
braking,
Why you don't believe me?
and I can't find that.
It's just not there.
No, I'm not entitled. You should just believe me.
Mariachi music.
Pandora.
Like as in a radio station? I want to say it was probably a radio station. I can't be sure, but did I hear any Pandora commercials? No.
Did you hear any normal commercials? So like if we're listening to a radio.
No, I didn't hear commercials. Like I didn't really hear, and I don't think I ever heard a complete song from start to finish either.
When she's describing this kidnapping event, she goes into a bit of a trance. She turns inward to imagine the scene. and it's
애교
like she's telling a
아닙니다.
story. She doesn't really want to be interrupted. She's very detailed about the run, the phone, and soon the room she was kept in. But there are almost no details about the car, the kidnappers, or the kidnapping itself. She has what is known as a detail valley surrounding the kidnapping itself.
All right, all
Mountains of
done.
details
Posters are in good
surrounding it,
condition.
but very limited about the actual kidnapping.
I listened for that a lot.
I got a
in the
coconut
house,
scrub.
too. Like, was this a radio? Was it Pandora or
Since we've touched it twice, you mentioned the house twice or location where you remember. Can we talk about that? Start with you. Tell us.
What would you like? The description of the room? Would you like
Sure.
the sounds that I heard? Would you like what I think was there? What would you like?
What was the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember was the zip ties on my hands, and then the clothing that was very big. It was baggy clothing. It was sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and I did not have socks, and I was very cold. And there were zip ties on my hands, and I didn't feel good. I couldn't stand up. I was very dizzy.
When you first had this in the sweatshirt stuff, is that the same stuff that you were found in the other day?
No.
How so?
Because they would change me.
Okay.
This conflicts with Sherry's story upon arrival at the hospital. You likely recall the recorded conversation between Sherry and the attending doctor.
Sometimes if you are left in clothes for a while, you get kind of a heat rash here. And that's what that kind of looks like along this arm here.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. Is that okay? Were you in the same clothes for a long period of time without bathing? Okay. That's probably what's going on there.
Because there was a drawstring on the sweatpants. There was a drawstring on the sweatpants, and the other one didn't have a drawstring.
How many times do you think you were changed or had to change your clothes? Obviously, at least twice. So it's
Yeah, I think maybe one more time.
Did it seem like the clothes were knitted?
Wait a minute. The sweatshirt, the top was too much more because I was trying to manipulate her. My skin was like on fire. It was really itchy everywhere, and I started this that's up in here. It was starting to swell. Starting to swell so bad. So I was trying to use some kind of medicine, like look at my skin. You need to wash me, to give me medicine, you need to get me something. And I was using that. water down your back and get out. But she let me wash my underpants in the shower. No, I could see. And that was when I was trying, you know, it was always look down. Don't look at us, look down. I was never allowed to look up. The first day with the zip ties, getting out of them, because they were behind my back. So I pulled them, I did one of these moves. And that's what this scar right there is from, is the very beginning, when I got them off. And I bit them, because I couldn't, because Keith and I had even tried this move before, the whole, you know, like power through it and bust it. And I tried that and was unsuccessful. And it cut right here. And I was like, I remember doing this with Keith. How the F do I get these off? And I tried that several times, and I tried the power bust it down, and that's where it cut in right there. And then I was like, I can't bust through them, so then I just chewed it off, and I cut my lip right there, and then I busted
Nice!
it.
Package!
And then it was like, I tried the door. I could tell that the door had a deadbolt at the top, so I couldn't open the door. And then they came in, and that's all I remember from that experience. No, there's something else. There's something else before I tried the door. There's something else before I tried the door.
The windows?
Sherry appears to remember some details vividly, such as how exactly she got a scar on her wrist from the zip ties. However, she's unable to recall other details, like any physical description of her kidnappers. When the person being interviewed appears to have a memory of extremes, meaning they either have an unusually good memory of events that happened months ago, or they can't remember recent events, it can be a possible red flag for deception.
After I broke the zip ties, there was boards on the windows, and I yanked that fucker out of the wall super quick, and that's what got her in the room, was that noise. She came in, and then it was lights out.
What do you mean it was lights out?
I can't remember if I was hit with something, if I was stuck with something, and that's what I was asking too. If I was tased, wouldn't I remember? Or would there be a scar? Would there be a mark? Would there be a mark?
It just depends if the probes made skin contact. How about the bathroom? What's that look like?
Right. I tried to hit her with something in the bathroom, and then the next time I went in the bathroom, everything was gone. The mirror was gone, the towel rack was gone. And you could hear, like if you put your head to the wall, because I did that often, you could hear very easily. And the insulation, it was freezing all the time. It was cold all the time. And there was a fireplace. I could smell the fireplace, and I could hear that creaky move the handle to open the fireplace. It was that creaky.
A minute ago you said when I was on the cable, were you tethered to a cable?
There was a chain around my waist.
Okay.
The cable, I could reach all the way to the bed. Couldn't reach the door. Couldn't reach the window. At all times, there was a bucket in the closet. That's what I used to go to the bathroom in. There was a dresser, but after I ripped this up, when I woke up, it was no longer there.
Wait, guys, what's happening? What's happening? What happened? There's your bucket of water right here. Okay, anyway, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. I have some emails to get to, I think. Jeez. Okay. Bye. Oh yeah, thanks to everyone who bought a CD and a poster. You guys actually made some of the things at that show possible, and I was able to fund having an incredible bandmaster, Sarah Hines, as well as having an incredible band. And And you guys allowed me to make merch to bring it to the show too. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy these posters as much as you guys have helped me, and you guys enjoy these CDs as much as I've enjoyed making them. Okay, so I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you guys at another time later. All right, and as soon as the delay's up, I'm gonna end the stream. I don't know where I'm at yet. Thank you so much. What I say? I hope you guys enjoy these posters as much as you guys have helped me. Keith. All right, I'm gonna let it ride. I don't know when it's done. Done yet? I'm gonna end the stream.